These elderly men weren't young, but their spirit and energy were shockingly vibrant. Junior, leave this place. An elderly man's apathetic gaze landed on Si Yin. His voice wasn't loud, but sent piercing pain into his listeners' eardrums. Scram, calmly responded a middle-aged man, standing behind Si Yin, dressed in plain clothes. That's one of the four Azuras in Azura, Heavenly Azura. Many factions had rushed to the Nier residence's vicinity upon hearing the news. Several people were startled when they saw the middle-aged man who spoke. Everyone knew Emperor Ji's group had the 8 gods, while Azura's group had the 4 Azuras. Just like how Emperor Ji's 8 gods represented the strongest fighters, Azura's 4 Azuras were the same and represented Azura's top fighters. Furthermore, the 4 Azuras were very mysterious and rarely operated outside, only appearing when Azura launched a true, epic battle. Damn, Azura's 4 Azuras were dispatched. Freaking, it isn't just Azura's 4 Azuras. Those old men are the Nye family's cabinet elders. They're true top-notch fighters. Even a powerful freak like eldest young master Nye has to address them as teachers. Soon, more and more factions arrived. 2 of the 4 great clans had arrived, the Shun family and the Ji family. Eldest young master Shun looked at the front, then looked around him before turning to his family's elders and asking, "Can this matter be resolved with money?" One of the Shun family elders mulled over it before shaking his head and replying, "I'm afraid it can't. The Nye family has dispatched their cabinet elders while Azura has dispatched the 4 Azuras. This is equivalent to these 2 great factions waging the largest-scale war. I'm afraid money can't easily resolve it." Eldest young master Shun was startled. "Damn, why did we come here then? Our Shun family has nothing but money." As for the Ji family, a large group also came, but only lingered on the perimeters without any plans to involve themselves fully. They seemed to be observing the situation. Amongst the 4 great clans, the Nye family and the Ji family had the best relationship, nearly to the point of sharing everything. Hence, the Ji estate naturally wouldn't stand by and do nothing if the Nye family engaged in the largest-scale war. Right now, veins popped from Si Yin's forehead and dark shadows hung under his eyelashes. He staked everything in one throw and believed her, only to obtain this kind of result. She still recovered her memories in the end, returned to her original identity, and even reunited with her and Ji Shiran's child, leaving him behind, leaving him to guard those promises and memories by himself, leaving him where she left him. I said it before that. She's the only one. She can only be mine. Yet, she violated his last bottom line, pushed his emotions into an abyss, and crushed his last thread of reason. Kill. Si Yihin's low and hoarse voice was akin to the roar of a primitive beast, sending people shaking with fear. The current Si Yihin didn't possess any rationality anymore. How audacious! Suddenly, Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye slowly walked outside the Nye residence. Nameless Nye, Feng Shuani, Spray of Flowers, Iceberg Man, and Little Sweetie were standing behind the duo. Who dares to provoke the Nye family? A large group from the Fearless Alliance arrived on the scene with the elders in lead. Countless hall masters and higher-ups were also present. Was Azura serious? Their president, Fearless, was a daughter of the Nye family. Azura making trouble with the Nye family was no different to them than making trouble with the Fearless Alliance. Moreover, the Nye family had a thick thigh, so they weren't afraid of offending Azura. The black-suited Lord Azura coldly swept his eyes across everyone. His torrential aura was like that of a tyrant and made people unwilling to approach. Next to Si Yihin was the extremely enigmatic 4 Azuras of Azura, while behind him was Lin Ke, Jiang Yin, and many experts from Azura. Don't act rashly. People from prison's other 2 core factions, Heavenly Hatred and Slaughter's Gate, are nearby, a higher-up from the Ji family warned quietly. Both Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye's expressions turned terrible instantly. An overpowering scent of gunpowder permeated the air, as though blood would wash the earth and war could ensue at a moment's notice. Patriarch Nye snorted. Eh, Lord Azura is quite mighty and impressive. You actually dared to move against my Nye family? In contrast to Patriarch Nye, Madame Nye was slightly calmer. For some reason, she felt like Lord Azura looked familiar. Madame Nye said, "May I ask what Lord Azura intended by invading the Nye residence with such a parade? If you don't provide a reason today, you won't be able to leave unharmed despite being Azura. Hand over the person to me." Bloody veins covered Si Yihan's eyes, and his low and hoarse voice sounded like a nightmare. "Are you joking with me? You came to the Nye residence to demand a person?" Patriarch Nye shouted harshly. This Lord Azura came running to their doorstep so malevolently and demanded a person immediately. He was seriously too arrogant. Madame Nye looked at Si Yihan in confusion. "You want someone? Who?" As Madame Nye asked that, she glanced at her son standing behind her. This punk didn't get into some trouble on the outside again, right? As soon as nameless Nye saw his mom's gaze, he knew what she was thinking. He bewilderedly protested. "It has nothing to do with me, all right? Why are you looking at me? I haven't had any jobs recently and have been staying home all day long, not even leaving the house once. Why are you blaming me? How come I don't get rewarded for anything good, but get blamed for everything bad? It's too awful." Patriarch Nye lowered his voice and snapped. "If it has anything to do with you, I'm going to give you a one-way ticket out of this house with a kick." Si Yihan's eyes didn't bear a trace of warmth, and a hidden mania in them could destroy the last of his control at any moment. He icily replied, "Worryless Nye." Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye were both startled. Madame Nye repeated, "Worryless?" Nameless Nye jumped up instantly and yelled, "See? See, I told you it wasn't me. Look at what your good daughter has done." Patriarch Nye's face was darker than ink. "Lord Azura, the Nye family and Azura have always stayed in our own lanes. However, you came here in provocation today and spoke impetuously, wanting to harm my daughter. Aren't you overly conceited? Sharing a bitter hatred for a common enemy." Madame Nye also questioned, "What do you think the Nye residence is? Do you think a member of my Nye family can be taken by you merely because you want it? If you hand worryless Nye to me, you live. You don't, you die." Si Yihan's bone-chilling gaze brushed over everyone as though he was a venomous snake lying in wait, sending everyone shivering. Big Dipper leaned close to 7-Star and Third Elder's ears and said, "It's over, it's over. I told Sis Feng not to provoke Lord Azura. Great. She's finally pissed him off now." Third Elder felt distress gripping him. Thank goodness. Thank goodness we have the Nye family support, or else we'd be dead for sure. 7-Star wore a serious expression. Azura has an intimate relationship with prison. If prison also attacks... The man was akin to an eternally frozen glacier, and his indescribable aura sent people shaking with fear. Azura's reputation rang far and wide as one of prison's 3 core factions, and everyone had heard of Lord Azura. However, the demonic Lord Azura today, who looked like he had just climbed out the deepest pits of hell, was a rare sight. Although Azura was extremely notorious and was categorized as the same type of group as the Fearless Alliance, they were different from the Fearless Alliance and rarely stirred up trouble. I will say it again. A penetratingly cold voice, without a tinge of human emotion, emitted from the man's lips. Patriarch Nye coldly looked at Si Yihan and snorted. "Lord Azura, I have to agree that you're indeed very powerful in the independent state, but I'm afraid you've mistaken something." "Oh." Si Yihan's apathetic gaze landed on Patriarch Nye. For example, this is the Nye residence, not someplace where Azura can do whatever they want." Patriarch Nye replied mockingly. There had never been any faction who dared to come to the Nye family and demand someone while presenting this attitude and posture. Moreover, they wanted his precious daughter. Even if the 3 core factions of prison came together today, they shouldn't bother thinking about taking anyone from their Nye family. "So you want hand her over, is that it?" Si Yihan's icy eyes didn't contain a ripple of human emotion. It was as though the man in front of them wasn't human and was instead a fearsome primitive beast that acted solely according to their likes and instincts. Ah, forget about taking my daughter away today, Lord Azura. Even if you wanted a cat or dog from my Nye family, I'm afraid you would fail. Madame Nye's face gradually chilled. Madame Nye originally thought perhaps Lord Azura had some misunderstanding with their Nye family, but it appeared that wasn't the case. If someone unimportant truly provoked Azura, and they privately discussed it, giving each other the necessary respect, the Nye family could hand over the person. However, Azura pompously encircled the Nye residence and made demands in front of the entire independent state. In this kind of situation, even if it was a stray cat or dog, Azura shouldn't dream about taking it away, let alone a nobody. And why the big fuss? Just call Worryless back here and see if there's been some misunderstanding, Nameless Nye suggested with a grin. Madame Nye and Patriarch both fiercely glared at him simultaneously. Why are you looking at me? What if there's a misunderstanding? Nameless Nye grumbled. What should we do if there isn't a misunderstanding? Taoist devotee asked Nameless Nye with curiosity. If there isn't a misunderstanding, then we can only count Azura unlucky, Nameless Nye replied seriously. Enough rubbish. The middle-aged man standing next to Siyihin shouted, Hand her over, and the battle will cease. Refuse and blood will purge the grounds. Before Patriarch Nye could reply, Tang Tang slowly walked out of the house. Little ancestor, why did you run out here? Nameless Nye hastily walked toward the boy. Go back, go back. Don't cause trouble for Uncle. Can't you see Uncle is preparing to fight? Move over, Uncle. Tang Tang shot Nameless Nye a look. Nameless Nye reflexively moved to the side, but quickly regained his wits. He was this little ancestor's uncle, so why did he listen to Tang Tang? Shouldn't the situation be reversed? You want to capture my mommy? Tong Tong's tiny figure stood at the front of the Nye residence. His gaze, which was identically bone-chilling to Siyihin's, shot toward Siyihin. Tang Tang and Siyihin's eyes met. Even if you're my daddy, there's no leeway for bullying my mommy, Tang Tang declared. Tang Tang, don't randomly address people. Who's your dad? Patriarch Nye furrowed his brows at Tang Tang. Siyihin stared at Tang Tang, a complicated and turmoiled emotion surfacing in his eyes before turning into a violent rage. I am, not your father. Indeed, this is Worryless Nye's biological son. This is Ji Shiran's child, not mine. Where is Worryless Nye? Siyihin was teetering on the brink of losing control and couldn't seem to repress the bloodthirsty wild beast that dwelled in his heart. Tong Tong's appearance evoked a terrifying roar from the beast, as though the beast wanted to crush everything into dust. Damn, Lord Azura, are you serious? The Nye family is the leader of the independent state's 4 great clans. Not only did you come to besiege the Nye family, but you also demanded the Nye family to hand over Worryless Nye. Worryless Nye is Ji Shiran's fiancé. Just how many factions does Azura want to offend at once? The observing eldest young Master Shun suddenly yelled. However, eldest young Master Shun's yelling caused Siyihin to completely lose all rationality. Fiancé, veins popped out from the man's forehead and blood vessels covered his eyes. His rage could burst to the heavens. Kill! Siyihin harshly shouted. Following Siyihin's words, the members of Azura and the 4 Azuras instantly lunged toward the Nye family. Insolent fools. Patriarch Nye also waved his right arm with a shout, placing the order to start fighting. In the blink of an eye, the sea of people transformed into a scene of slaughter, and the Nye family and Azura's fighting forces melded into one. When the Ji family saw the 2 sides finally fighting, they immediately rushed over, but were impeded by people from heavenly hatred and slaughter's gate. Yuanwan had removed her makeup at rocket speed and rushed toward the Nye residence. When she arrived, this was the scene that greeted her. Without any hesitation, Yuanwan drove the car straight into the crowd. Seeing a car charging toward them, the 2 sides subconsciously dodged to the side. Being hit by a car for no reason wasn't a fun adventure. Everyone's gazes were pulled toward the intruding car. Who is it? Are they suicidal? Damn, both Azura and the Nyef family are there, yet they still charged inside? I think they hit 2 people, right? The driver's door soon opened, and Yuan stepped out. When everyone saw the newcomer's face, they were startled. "It's his phone," Big Dipper cried quietly upon seeing her. "It's actually by phone. Wait, no, it's Worryless Nya. Wait, no. What should we call her?" She was both the president of the Fearless Alliance, by phone, and also Worryless Nya of the Nya family. She had too many identities, so people didn't know what to call her. After exiting the car, Yuan looked around her and saw a Nya family member and an Azura member rolling on the ground, covered in dust. She had accidentally flung them away with a swerve just now. However, she didn't do it on purpose. "Miss Worryless, you can hit Azura's people, but I'm from a Nya family. Why did you also hit me?" The Nya family member who was swept back by Yuan's swerve soon stood up with a limp and looked at Yuan with an aggrieved expression. Yuan was embarrassed. "I didn't want to hit a single person, all right? Why is he blaming me when he didn't run when a car came and got hit?" A strange expression surfaced on everyone's faces when Yuan appeared. Azura had come with such fanfare to capture her. No one expected Worryless Nya to suddenly appear when the Nya family and Azura were seconds into their fight. "Mommy!" Tong's dark eyes shone when he saw Yuan. He instantly sprinted toward Yuan and hugged her leg. "Good Tang. Mommy's here." Yuan felt her heart melting at the sight of her little darling. "Worryless, come here quickly," Patriarch Nya shouted. "What's happening, Dad?" Yuan looked at Patriarch Nya, bewildered. "What is happening?" Patriarch Nya was more baffled than Yuan because of her question. How would he know what happened? Lord Azura came here for her. Patriarch Nya previously thought that his precious daughter probably provoked Azura on the outside, but Worryless Nya was now asking him what happened. Before Patriarch Nya could respond, Yuan turned to face Siyin. "Have you gone mad?" The Nya family was her family. Patriarch Nya and Madame Nya were her parents, and Tang was her and Siyin's son. What did Siyin intend to do? Seriously attack the Nya family? Did jealousy take over his brain? What was he thinking? Siyin first looked at Yuan before surveying Tang, who was in her arms. A mere glance caused the raging aura around Siyin to become more frightening, as though he wanted to swallow all of Yuan. This was Yuan's first time seeing this gaze coming from Siyin. It really jolted her in fright. Why was this man so unhinged? "Take her away," Siyin ordered. He gave her a chance, countless chances. He told her they were unsuitable since she still had that man in her heart, but she denied it. And since he had to go to hell, then everyone should go to hell with him. Yuan looked at Siyin with exasperation. If he wanted to take her away, he just needed to call her. Why did he come so pompously to the Nya family to steal her? Her brows slightly furrowed. Just what in the world was he thinking? Could it be because she was Worryless Nya? Because she was Ji Shiran's fiancée? Or because he thought Tang was Ji Shiran's son? How ridiculous! How does Tang resemble Ji Shiran? Is he blind? Can't he tell Tang is his son? One of the 4 Azuras made to grab Yuan and Tang. "Junior, you're audacious." A cabinet elder from the Nya family shot forward instantly. However, the cabinet elder was too slow. Patriarch Nya had reached Yuan already and swung his hand to force Azura back. "Dad, don't fight," Yuan said to Patriarch Nya, who was protecting her. "Worryless, no need to worry. Forget about Azura. Even if the Heavenly Emperor came here himself today, he wouldn't be able to take you away," Patriarch Nya promised as he looked back at her. Yuan. She really wasn't afraid of Siyin taking her away, but there was clearly something wrong with Siyin's current state. "Sister, how did you provoke Azura? Look at how angry you've made them. But provoking Azura is fine. Dad, Mom, and I will seek justice for you today. If you think we aren't imposing enough, I can call my mercenaries over here. Your brother, can work for free, but those mercenaries have to be paid." Nameless Nye said after walking to her, his voice as quiet as possible so that their parents wouldn't overhear. Yuanwan glanced at Nameless Nye. He really was her real brother. It was a matter of life or death. Yet he was still asking her for money. "Mommy, don't be scared. I won't allow this man to take you away." Tang Dang shot Si Yihan a cold look. Si Yihan's gaze at Tang Dang and Tong Tong's gaze at Si Yihan were both pretty scary. Looking at this real father and son duo's mutual hostility, Yuanwan was exasperated. Did Si Yihan really think Tang Dang was Ji Shiran's son? How did they look alike? Yuanwan wanted to tell Tang Dang, "Son, that's your real dad." Si Yihan, haven't you thrown a long enough tantrum? Si Yihan's utterly bone-chilling gaze slowly settled on Yuanwan. "Leave with me on your own, or everyone will die because of you. Pick one." His eyes were so terrifying. Yuanwan had never seen him like this. The current Si Yihan felt like a stranger to her. Even so, Yuanwan was still angered to the point of laughter. A man whose brain got hijacked by jealousy was impervious to reason. He was clearly such an intelligent person, so why was he unable to deduce such an obvious truth now? "Die your arrogant ass. Immediately apologize to my parents," Yuanwan demanded with a frown. Everyone looked at Yuanwan with astonishment. Was this Miss Worryless Nye? All right ahead? Azura came to annihilate the Nye family, and Worryless Nye wanted to make Lord Azura apologize to the Nye family? Forget about whether there was some misunderstanding here or not. Even if there was no way Azura would admit their mistake and would only fight to their last breath. The members of Azura all burst into laughter, and contempt brimmed from the four Azura's eyes especially. Lin Ke looked at Yuanwan and sighed exasperatedly. Was Yuanwan still clueless about the current situation? He knew his ninth brother better than anyone. His ninth brother could tolerate that Yuanwan was Ji Shiran's fiancé, except for one point. His ninth brother couldn't tolerate the fact that Yuanwan and Ji Shiran had child. To Si Yihan, this child wasn't a bottom line. It was an unpardonable sin. This child represented all his doubts between her and him. Apologize? Si Yihan coldly stared at Yuanwan. You might have some misunderstanding. Misunderstanding your ass. You big idiot. Mommy, this man deserves to die, Tang Tang said to Yuanwan. Yuanwan frowned. Tang Tang, don't speak nonsense. I'm not speaking nonsense. This man wants to attack the Nye family and steal Mommy away. Tang Tang shook his head. He's your daddy. Yuanwan responded with a helpless sigh. He used to be. Not anymore. Tang Tang glanced at Si Yihan. I'm not his dad. Si Yihan suddenly interjected. Everyone was dumbfounded. What in the world was happening? Do you deserve to be my dad? Tang Tang asked the man. Tang Tang, don't speak nonsense. He's your daddy. Yuanwan was fretting with worry. This misunderstanding seemed to be a bit too big. I'll say it again. I'm not his dad. Veins bulged from Si Yihan's forehead, and his eyes were bloodshot. Are you kidding me? Yuanwan was furious. Tang Tang is your son. If he's not your son, is he my son, huh? Everyone was baffled. What? Was Tang Tang not Worryless Nye's son either? Mommy, Tang Tang looked at Yuanwan in shock. Yuanwan slapped her head and promptly corrected herself. Sorry, I misspoke. Blame your daddy for angering me. Worryless Nye, I'll say it one last time. He's not my son. Don't challenge me. Before Si Yihan could finish speaking, Yuanwan bolted forward and pulled out the DNA test result from her bag and tossed it towards Si Yihan. Look for yourself. The DNA test result fluttered onto the ground, but Si Yihan didn't have any intention to pick it up and made Jiang Yin pick it up instead. Don't even think about using some trick to bewitch my lord. Jiang Yin shouted coldly at Yuanwan. It appears you're unwilling to leave with me. Si Yihan's voice was glacially cold. He waved his right arm. Go. However, just as this order was placed, Jiang Yin was flabbergasted by what he saw on the DNA test result. Automatically, Jiang Yin pulled Si Yihan back. My lord, Didi don't attack yet. Freaking. Sweat soaked Jiang Yin's forehead. It's over, it's all over, my lord is over. This misunderstanding is giant. Jiang Yin never expected his lord would actually have a child with this worryless Nye. And this child was young Master Tang from the Nye family. After all, this DNA test result couldn't be fake. It was authenticated by the Iron Authority Organization. A second later, Si Yihin's icy gaze landed on Jiang Yin. Jiang Yin shivered upon seeing Si Yihin's frightening gaze, but didn't dare to loosen his hold. He hastily said, "My lord, please hold on. I think it'd be better if you looked at this first." However, Si Yihin didn't take the DNA test result from him and uttered, "Read it. That might be a little inappropriate. How about?" Jiang Yin looked around them. "Don't make me say it a second time." Jiang Yin helplessly sighed before starting. The test shows that Nye Tang Xiao and your DNA shares a similarity of 99.3%. From a biological standpoint, Nye Tang Xiao is your biological son. Everyone was stupefied. The four Azuras were dumbfounded. They weren't stupid, so they naturally knew what Jiang Yan's words meant. The people from the Nye family were also astonished. Tang Tang was Lord Azura's son. Lord Azura was that wild man. Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye met each other's eyes, seeing the other person's shock and disbelief. Si Yihin's expression shifted, and he instantly grabbed the DNA test report. A moment later, Si Yihin put the DNA test report in his pocket, his feet rooted to the ground. He first looked at nameless Nye, then Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye, then finally Yuan and Tang Tang. There weren't any changes on Si Yihin's face, but his eyes were shaken. "Did you have my tissue sample?" Si Yihin asked Yuan. "So when I asked for your hair and asked for 2 strands, what did you think the second strand was used for?" Yuan coldly retorted, staring at him. Si Yihin surveyed Yuan for a few seconds before sinking into contemplation. No wonder she asked him for his hair earlier. He simply believed the hair was for the Scarlet Flames Academy's mission and didn't think too deeply about it. Si Yihin's gaze slowly landed on Tang Tang, and his expression became complicated. Tang Tang was actually his biological son. Si Yihin was neither mentally prepared, yet in the blink of an eye, he became a father. Moreover, his son wasn't babbling out his first words and had some years to him already instead. The more Si Yihin examined Tang Tang, the more he felt like the boy looked too similar to him. Even Tang Tang's personality was identical to him when he was young. That's right, Tang Tang's face and personality didn't bear a sliver of similarity to Ji Xiran. But why did he stubbornly believe Tang Tang was Ji Xiran's biological son when he heard Yuan was worryless Nye? Currently, Si Yihin increasingly felt like his previous thoughts were too absurd. An indescribable feeling entered Si Yihin's eyes as he turned to appraise the Nye family. "Ninth brother, what should we do? Did we go too far?" Lin Ke, who was standing behind Si Yihin, asked quietly. Si Yihin shot Lin Ke a look. "What do you think? What should we do now? It's a little too embarrassing." An anguished smile was on Lin Ke's face. Si Yihin, "Ninth brother, look at you. I told you not to act so impulsively. I told you that Tang Tang didn't resemble Ji Xiran at all and clearly looked identical to you. But you wouldn't stop. It's just great. We got ourselves in deep trouble." Lin Ke wished nothing more than to find a hole to burrow into. He might not be Si Yihin, but it was still super embarrassing. Every audience member froze in their spots, stunned. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. Kamu would have expected by Feng to be worryless Nye, and would also have a son with Lord Azura. What was more preposterous was that Lord Azura was ignorant about this son and led people to attack the Nye family. This was simply too wretched. No. Why? Despair filled eldest young Master Shen's face. "My heart is shattered. My goddess, my angel, my bro flat top. Why did things turn out like this?" Next to him, the Shen family higher-ups looked at their eldest young master and exasperatedly said, "Forget it. Money can't solve this problem. The simplest solution is to crush on someone else. What do you know? I'm devotedly chaste and faithful until I die." Eldest young master, Shen, cried sorrowfully. "Mommy, this man is my real daddy?" Tang Tang incredulously turned to Yi Wanwan. That's right, but that's the past. Right now, this man isn't your dad anymore. Since he's led people here to steal mommy away and attack the Nye family, you don't have a dad like that, Yi Wanwan replied. Si Yin's expression remained the same when he heard Yi Wanwan's reply, but an inscrutable feeling surfaced in his eyes. Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. Heavenly Azura shot forward and hastily yelled, "It's a misunderstanding. We didn't come here to attack the Nye family." Who said we came here to attack the Nye family? No way. You're spouting nonsense. You were demanding that the Nye family hand over Miss Worryless just a second ago. If you didn't come here to attack the Nye family, why are you here? Eldest young Master Shun hastily interjected. Actually, this was just a drill practice. Heavenly Azura thought about it and turned to his lord. Right? Si Yin stood in his spot and was silent for a moment before actually nodding and answering, yes. Drill practice? I think you're acting, right? Who the heck are you trying to deceive? I don't even believe it. Do you think other people would? You're awesome. So fight the Nye family. Why are you standing around and doing nothing? Attack already. Purge the grounds with blood already. We guarantee we won't act. If you really can't, the Shun family and Ji family can lend you some people and make sure you destroy the Nye family. Eldest young Master Shin shouted. Heavenly Azura, Si Yihin, Lin K, none of your business. Stop your blabbing. We're practicing a drill. You won't understand it. Worryless. What in the world is going on? Patriarch Nye turned to Yuanwan. Yuanwan was dumbfounded. She also really wanted to know what was going on. They were trying to pass it off as a drill practice now and couldn't even fool her, but wanted to fool her parents. Wanwan, Tang Tang really is his and your son? Madame Ye asked with a deep frown as she walked to Yi Wanwan. Mom, it's a long story actually, Yi Wanwan replied with a wry smile. Then make your long story short. Madame Ye didn't allow Yi Wanwan to slip out of it at all. Mom, in truth, from a biological standpoint, he is. However, after he treated us like this today and disrespected you and Dad, I'll definitely make him give you and Dad a proper explanation. Yi Wanwan anxiously said, if I don't agree, he also needs to give me an explanation. Nameless Nye stepped forward and shouted coldly. Yi Wanwan, why are you everywhere? Why the heck do you need an explanation? In front of everyone, Nameless Nye walked to Si Yihin and poked Si Yihin in the abdomen with his finger. Wow, you punk, you wild man. You had a child with my sister, and then you fled without a word. All these years, you showed no interest in our precious Tang Tang. Do you know? It was me who raised Tang Tang poop by poop, acting as both the father and mother, Si Yihin. Raised young Master Tang Tang poop by poop. Heavenly Azura wanted to say something, but immediately swallowed his words after catching Si Yihin's gaze. It appeared all of Azura didn't have any right to speak right now. They could only admit their wrongs and accept any beating standing up. I won't waste any more words with you. But no matter what, you're Tong Tong's father from a biological standpoint, correct? Nameless Nye stared at Si Yihin. Yes, Si Yihin replied. Good, as long as you admit it. For so many years, I've raised Tang Tang poop by poop. Because of Tang Tang, I'm a grown man but haven't even found a girlfriend. My whole life has been delayed. Tell me, how do you plan to compensate me? Nameless Nye demanded coldly. Si Yihin, tell me. Nameless Nye poked Si Yihin with his finger a few more times. Okay, Si Yihin replied a few moments later. You agreed. If you dare to play tricks with me, punk, don't dream about seeing Tang Tang again for the rest of your life. After saying that, Nameless Nye turned to his parents. Dad, Mom, this is actually a drill practice, and I discussed it with him beforehand. When I have time, I will explain it to you in detail. Get your ass back here. Patriarch Nye's face swelled with rage. Okay, Nameless Nye walked back with his head lowered, not daring to say anything else. Worryless, you've done something foolish. How could you, with this kind of person? Patriarch Nye had an awful expression on his face. He actually led people here to attack the Nye family, and the entire independent state is about to learn he's actually Tong Tong's real father. Where should the Nye family place their pride now? Sir Patriarch, it's a misunderstanding. It's really a misunderstanding, one of the four Azuras cried. Scram! Patriarch Nye shouted. Sure, no problem. Where does your esteemed self want me to scram? Patriarch Nye didn't want to respond to him and turned back to Yuanwan. I won't approve of him, worryless. Worryless? He's too absurd. Madame Nye also said. Dad, Mom. Yuanwan looked at her parents. Don't worry. If you two don't approve of him, I won't approve of him, and Tang Tang also won't approve of him. Patriarch Nye and Master's expressions improved slightly after hearing that. Why are you all dawdling here? Get lost already. Patriarch Nye yelled at the audience. Go. Let's go. Heavenly Azura quickly waved his hand and led Lin Ke and the others away. After Patriarch Nye's admonishment, the other observing factions also left tactfully. Soon, Xiyin was the only one left in front of the Nye residence. Let's go. Patriarch Nye waved his hand, leading Yuanwan and the others back inside the house. Dad, Mom, he's Lord Azura, so he'll be pointed and stared at if he keeps standing in front of our house. It wouldn't be good for us either, so how about we let him come inside first? This way, we can discuss everything out in the open too. After all, he's Tong Tong's father, Yuanwan suggested softly. No, he's prohibited from taking a single step inside the Nye estate. Patriarch Nye replied. Madame Nye glanced at Patriarch Nye instantly. Worryless is right. Let him come in first. Even if Worryless breaks all ties with him, they have to talk it out, or else what good would it be? But Patriarch Nye frowned lightly. What but? I said let him enter. Madame Nye turned to see Yihin and said, Come inside. Okay. Xiyin nodded and walked behind Yuanwan, conscientiously keeping a small distance between himself and Yuanwan. The current Xiyin greatly resembled a child who did something wrong, and a rare trace of anxiety appeared in his eyes. Inside the Nye living room, Yuanwan stared at Xiyin. Why are you standing there? Hurry and pour some tea for my dad and mom, and admit your mistakes already. Xiyin, no need, we can't afford it. Otherwise, what if he besieged our Nye family again when he's unhappy one day? Patriarch Nye snorted. Xiyin, apologize to my dad and mom first and admit your wrongs, Yuanwan ordered with a frown. Xiyin looked at Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye. It was a misunderstanding. Yuanwan nearly spat on Xiyin's face. Was his EQ actually low, or was he faking it? She freaking told him to apologize, and he gave her a... It was a misunderstanding? I told you to apologize. What misunderstanding, huh? Yuanwan urgently yelled. Doesn't he see how angry Dad and Mom are? Pacify them. Hey, do you freaking know how to pacify someone? Patriarch Nye. Madame Nye, I'm sorry. It was my fault for not understanding things clearly first. Finally, Xiyin apologized and bowed toward Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye. As Tang Tang stared at Xiyin standing in the middle of the living room, he tugged on Yuanwan's sleeve. Mommy, is he really my real dad? Yuanwan nodded. However, now wasn't the time to fuss about whether he was Tong Tong's real dad or not. They needed to figure out how to allow this real dad to redeem himself. Yuanwan inspected her parents and discovered they were rather furious indeed, especially after learning Tang Tang was her and Lord Azura's son. Forget about Azura's reputation in the independent state for now. The simple fact that Lord Azura led people to besiege the Nye residence today and spoke arrogantly made Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye unable to back down. Yuanwan felt helpless. Xiyin seriously had a one-track mind. Even if something happened, couldn't he call her first and at least figure out the situation first? However, anything they said now would be too late. Now that things had reached this point, there wasn't a regret pill for him to take, and they could only rack their minds for a solution to repair things. Based on the current look of things, though, Dad and Mom were in the peak of their anger, so anything they said probably wouldn't be too effective. Furthermore, with Xiyin's EQ, It'd be better if he talked less. Si stood quietly in the living room, and Patriarch Nya and Madame Nya were also uninterested in speaking to Si, so the atmosphere was rather awkward. Head back first. Yuan told him a while later. Si apologized already, and it was inadvisable to rush everything else. They had to allow her parents to calm down first. Right. Let him go back first, Patriarch Nya also said. Si looked at Yuan then Tang Dang, as though unwilling to leave just like this. Yuan sent him a look when she saw that. He got into such big trouble, so there was no way the Nye family's anger would dissipate that easily. If Si remained there and didn't leave, it'd only produce the opposite effect and further displease Madame and Patriarch Nya. Please excuse my many offenses today. I'll visit another day to make amends, Si said to Patriarch and Madame Nya before turning to leave. Wait, Madame Nya suddenly called out. Si paused immediately and turned to Madame Nya. Explain yourself first. What's going on between you and my daughter? Worryless? Madame Nya asked him. Si gaze landed on Yuan. He didn't know how to answer this question. Mom, I'll tell you about this later. Yuan hastily interjected. I'm asking Lord Azura, Madame Nya said. Madame Nya. Si looked at Madame Nya as he briefly explained the past events. After hearing the story, Madame Nya glanced at Yuan before telling Si to leave for now. After Si left, Madame Nya finally turned to Yuan with a deep frown. Worryless, you should know who he is. This kind of person is vicious and cruel and would commit any imaginable misdeed. How could your dad and I hand you and Tang Dang over to him without worrying? Yuan. Indeed, to outsiders, Lord Azura's actions and style were abnormal. However, that applied merely to outsiders. Her dad and mom didn't know Si well, so it was normal for them to have apprehensions. If Yuan put herself in their shoes, she would share the same concerns as a parent. Mom, don't worry, I know what I should do, Yuan replied to Madame Nya with a smile. No matter what, she needed to placate her parents first. There were plenty of future opportunities in this pacification endeavor. After Si returned to Azura's headquarters, he immediately called Yuan, wanting to figure out some solution to rescue the situation. However, right now, they could only wait for an opportunity since this misunderstanding was rather enormous. 3 days later, an uninvited guest arrived at Azura's headquarters. Jiang Yin entered Si office and looked at Si. My lord, that nameless Nye came and brought a group with him. They're taking everything valuable like a group of bandits, including the supplies we just bought. Si expressionlessly closed a document on the desk and calmly stood up. Take me there. Yes, Jiang Yin snorted. He didn't believe that nameless Nye could still act so presumptuously when his lord was personally there. A moment later, Jiang Yin led Si to Azura's warehouse. Elite members of Azura encircled the warehouse. They were enraged as they watched spray of flowers and brick-moving foreigner moving the cargo in the warehouse as though they were moving things from their own house. However, the Azura members didn't dare to block nameless Nye since he was the uncle of young master of Azura. But even if he was young master's uncle, wasn't he going too far? Who would move things from someone else's storage like this? Who were they? Put it down. When Jiang Yin stood in the warehouse and saw nameless Nye about to move the cargo they were about to trade with other factions, he was instantly enraged and screamed. However, nameless Nye and his group didn't seem to have heard him. They were immersed in their own world and wholly focused on moving the supplies, mumbling to themselves. We're rich this time. My lord, look at them. They aren't members of the Nye family. They're clearly a group of bandits. Jiang Yin was enraged. They were freaking shadier than the Fearless Alliance. Compared to nameless Nye and his team, the Fearless Alliance was nothing. When the Fearless Alliance robbed things, at least they went to rob them, whereas nameless Nye and his team matter-of-factly moved them like they were in their own home. What was more aggravating was that they were moving things in front of them. Stop! How dare you rob our warehouse in front of Lord Azura? Jiang Yin rebuked Nameless Nya and his group. Nameless Nya turned around and looked at Jiang Yin without the slightest change in his expression. Rob, I'm moving my brother-in-law's things. What the hell does it have to do with you? That's right. Our captain is Tong Tong's real uncle, and Lord Azura is Tong Tong's real dad. So what if we move some things? Is there something wrong with that, huh? Taoist devotee vehemently nodded in agreement. My lord. Jiang Yin looked at the man next to him. What? Is there a problem, brother-in-law? Nameless Nya asked Si Yin. Nameless Nya addressing him as brother-in-law caused Si Yin's eyes to flicker, and the man calmly said, Let them move our things. Jiang Yin was dumbfounded. The items Nameless Nya and his group were moving were goods they were about to trade with several other factions. But his lord is going to let them take them just like this. Great, brother-in-law. I'll bring Tang Tang here to play with you for a few days soon. Nameless Nya waved at Si Yin after getting into his car. Will he really bring young master here? Jiang Yin looked incredibly doubtful. Si Yin didn't say anything to that and turned to leave. The Nya family. Yuan looked at Tang Tang, her eyes turning before she asked, Tang Tang, do you want to see Daddy? Daddy. Tang Tang thought about it before replying, That's fine. Yuan. He really was Si Yin's real son without a doubt. Then go tell Grandpa and Grandma that you're going to school. You mustn't slip up, all right? Yuan carefully instructed. And then I'll bring you to see Daddy, okay? Yuan smiled. Okay. Tang Tang nodded. That afternoon, Yuan lied and said she was taking Tang Tang to school when in reality, she had Nameless Nya escort Tang Tang to Azura's headquarters. She could use Tang Tang as a breakthrough to Patriarch and Madame Nya. If Tang Tang got along with Si Yin, she believed her parents couldn't bear to separate Tang Tang from his father. Of course, Patriarch and Madame Nya couldn't make decisions about her life for her, but older people had to be sweet-talked. It shouldn't be too difficult for her family to be whole and harmonious. After Tang Tang agreed, Yuan and Tang Tang operated separately. One went to Si Yin's place, while the other stayed at home to appease her parents. At Azura's headquarters, Jiang Yin was squatting in a corner with his weapon tossed to the side. He had maintained this position for a whole day already. Ever since he saw that DNA test result, his life and beliefs collapsed. Lin Ke looked at Jiang Yin's closed-off state with an unsurprised expression. He walked over and sympathetically clapped the other man on the shoulder. Why, little Red, what did I say? I reminded you to not offend that girl before. Great. You've completely offended the future Mrs. Azura. If that girl casually whispered something to our lord during pillow talk, what would happen to you? Jiang Yin leaped up instantly. Stop your nonsense. Our lord absolutely isn't that kind of muddle-headed person. Lin Ke raised his brows. Oh, are you certain? Look into my eyes and say it again. Jiang Yin. This insinuating retort instantly turned Jiang Yin into a puncture balloon. I'm not certain. At that moment, a guard came to report that Nameless Nya had arrived again. As soon as Jiang Yin heard that, he was charged again and immediately rushed out. Why are you here again? I've already locked the warehouse with several dozen specially made locks, so don't bother thinking about opening it. Jiang Yin was trembling with anger as he looked at Nameless Nya. He swore to the heavens that he never wanted to see this most money-hungry oddball in the Nya family's history ever again. Are you blind? Nameless Nya gestured to Tang Tang, standing next to him with his eyes. Can't you see I'm here to drop Tang Tang off to see my brother-in-law? Young master, Jiang Yin finally saw Tang Tang. He was seized by anger as soon as he saw Nameless Nya, so he didn't notice anything else. It really is young master. Jiang Yin was astonished by this. He never expected this fool to really bring young master here. Jiang Yin didn't think Nameless Nya really meant it when he said it. Only then did Jiang Yin's expression improve. At least Nameless Nya kept his word. Remember to tell my brother-in-law that I spoiled this child too rotten at home. So as the dad, he can't indulge him and must beat him when necessary. Nameless Nya added. Tong Tong's icy gaze landed on Nameless Nya. Jiang Yan's lips slightly twitched. Is he a real uncle? Nameless Nya probably didn't send Tang Tang there to allow the father and son to meet. It was to let his lord discipline the young master, right? You're such a chicken. You even locked the warehouse with specially made locks? Tell my brother-in-law that the goods last time were merely my compensation for all these years. They don't count as a betrothal gift. Nameless Nya continued with a purse of his lips. Before Jiang Yin could respond, under Tong Tong's threatening gaze, Nameless Nya chuckled awkwardly and disappeared without a trace. Only Tang Dang and Jiang Yin were left in front of Azura's headquarters, as well as some of Azura's guards. Jiang Yin stared at his lord's son, who suddenly popped out of nowhere, and took a deep breath to calm himself down. He then smiled faintly and said, "Young master, his lord is reading over documents right now and hasn't finished his work yet. Are you hungry? How about I take you to grab a bite first, young master?" After his lord is finished working. Although he still couldn't accept the fact that the vixen contaminated his lord, he couldn't help but act reverently toward this miniature version of his lord. "Take me to see my daddy now," Tang Tang expressionlessly ordered. "Jiang Yin, didn't I say my lord is busy right now?" "Young master, your father's—" Tang Tang frowned lightly and interrupted Jiang Yin. "Do I need to repeat myself a second time?" Jiang Yin. Jiang Yin was certain that this young master of the Nye family was absolutely his lord's biological son, without a doubt. From his tone of speech to his mannerisms, he was basically a copy of his lord. All right. Helpless to do anything else, Jiang Yin could only guide Tang Tang toward Lord Azura's study. Halfway there, Jiang Yin looked at Tang Tang and suggested, "Young master, this path is difficult to walk on. How about I carry you?" "No need." Tang Tang shook his head. How about I hold your hand?" Jiang Yin offered. Tang Tang glanced at Jiang Yin. Although Tong Tong's face didn't change a smidgen, his black eyes were brimming with unconcealed disdain. Jiang Yin wanted to cry. Did all the children nowadays not require adults to hold their hands? He was actually disdained by his young master. Soon, Jiang Yin arrived in front of Lord Azura's study with Tang Tang and knocked on the door. However, he didn't receive any response. "My lord, young master is here," Jiang Yin explained. A few seconds later, the door to the study was finally opened. The man stood by the door, his eyes landing on Tang Tang. Almost simultaneously, the father and son duo met each other's eyes, but they stayed silent for a long time without speaking. Next to them, Jiang Yin felt a bit awkward. Wasn't this father and son duo style of interaction a bit strange? "Come in." Si Yin took Tong Tong's hand and led him inside the study. Jiang Yin followed behind them, wanting to use this opportunity to make some reports. Before he could enter the office, though, the door was slammed shut with a bang. Inside the office, Tang Tang sat on the side, while Si Yin continued to read his documents. "Where's your mom?" Si Yin asked as he read the document in hand without looking away. "At home," Tang Tang replied while looking at Si Yin. Si Yin then proceeded to work. "Are you hungry?" A moment later, Si Yin spoke again. "I've eaten," Tang Tang responded. After that, the father and son duo entered an odd silence again. When Si Yin finished going over the documents, it was late at night already. During that period of time, Si Yin had Jiang Yin send some food to them. "Are you tired?" Si Yin asked Tang Tang as he set his pen on the desk. "I'm fine," Tang Tang replied. "Time to rest." Si Yin stood up and took Tong Tong's hand before leading him outside the study. About 15 minutes later, Si Yin arrived at his bedroom with Tang Tang in tow. "Do you know how to shower by yourself?" Si Yin questioned. "I do." Tang Tang nodded and turned to enter the bathroom. "Didn't you not know before?" Back in China, it was Wan who helped him shower every time. Tang Tang stoically shook his head. "I know now." Si Yin didn't say anything and set a new toothbrush and clean towels on a washstand. A moment later, Si Yin opened the wardrobe. If Yuan Wan was there, she would definitely be speechless with surprise. Si Yin's wardrobe was actually comprised of children's clothes entirely, and some toys too. Si Yin quietly took out a pair of pajamas and placed them on the bed before returning to the bathroom. "Come here." Si Yihin stopped by the washstand and called out to Tang Tang. Tang Tang walked towards Si Yihin without any hesitation. Si Yihin pulled out a hairdryer and put it on low mode before starting to blow-dry Tang Tang's hair for him lightly. "Daddy, do you know how to use a hairdryer?" Tang Tang frowned. Why was all the hot air from the hair dryer blowing on his face? First time, Si Yihin was expressionless. "Then how do you blow-dry your hair?" Tang Tang asked. However, Si Yihin didn't answer this question. After he amateurishly finished blow-drying Tang Tang's hair, he led Tang Tang back to the bedroom. Si Yihin picked up the pajamas he lay on the bed and handed them to Tang Tang. "Do you know how to put them on?" "I don't want them." Tang Tang furrowed his brows as he contemptuously stared at the cute-looking pajamas his dad was holding. Si Yihin glanced at the pajamas in his hand with a frown. He clearly picked them according to this guy's previous preferences. In China, Tang Tang liked it a lot whenever Wan Wan picked these pajamas for him. Si Yihin walked to the wardrobe and opened it. "Choose," Si Yihin calmly said. "Too high. I can't see," Tang Tang replied. Si Yihin stood in his spot silently for a moment before bending down and picking Tang Tang up. "Choose," Si Yihin repeated. In the end, Tang Tang chose a pair of rather normal-looking pajamas. At that moment, Si Yihin's phone started ringing. It was Yi Wan Wan calling. "Hey, baby." Yi Wan Wan's soft and sweet voice emitted from the other end. Tang Tang sharply caught his mommy's voice from the phone, and his little ears instantly perked up. He was originally sitting far away from Si Yihin, but dashed towards Si Yihin at once. Si Yihin glanced at the little fella and sent his son a look that said, "Your mommy's calling me," before answering. "Hey." The little fella's cheeks puffed up, and he peered at the man with displeasure. Yi Wan Wan said, "My brother sent Tang Tang to your place, right? I told my parents that I sent Tang Tang to a teacher, so you can spend some time with Tang Tang." Si Yihin, sure. Under his son's accusatory gaze, Si Yihin turned on the speakerphone and knelt down too. On the other end of the phone, Yi Wan Wan worriedly inquired, "How are you two getting along?" Si Yihin answered, "We're getting along great." "No, I'm not good." "Daddy's lying," Tang Tang interjected. Tang Tang then proceeded to launch into a series of complaints about how he didn't eat well or dress well, and how his daddy didn't even know how to blow-dry his hair. Si Yihin, Yi Wan Wan. The scene turned a bit awkward. Yi Wan Wan sounded exasperated. "I thought you got some experience caring for a child while we were in China." "I originally also thought I had some experience," Si Yihin responded. However, the reality was the complete opposite of his imagination. Just what gave him the misconception that this child was easy to take care of. But when Wan Wan was there, Tang Tang was clearly easy to take care of. Si Yihin's fingers tightened around his phone as he listened to Wan Wan's voice. He had countless thoughts to say, countless questions to ask, but he couldn't form a single word. "Wan Wan, Yi Wan Wan what?" Si Yihin dazedly stared at the little fella next to him, this child that she birthed for him. "Tang Tang is my child." Yi Wan Wan rolled her eyes. "Try asking me again? Look at your son's face and try to ask me again." Si Yihin stopped speaking after glancing at his son. When he saw Tang Tang that first time, it wasn't that obvious, and he merely thought Tang Tang's brows resembled Wan Wan. However, a child had a different appearance every day, and Tang Tang did resemble him more and more after such a long time had passed. But how? Si Yihin's voice was hoarse. When did she have Tang Tang? He didn't know anything. At the mention of this, Yi Wan Wan felt a bit guilty. In truth, this matter was also her fault since she seemed to have purposely hidden it from him. Calculating from Tang Tang's birthday, Tang Tang was conceived the first time she and Si Yihin got together. Since she was a ball of anxiety and exhaustion from her parents' barrage, she hadn't told Si Yihin that she recovered her memories yet. That one time. Yi Wan Wan cleared her throat. Yi Wan Wan reminded him, "That one time you were bribed by me with a bag of popping candy." Tang Tang tilted his head, puzzled. He was conceived from Daddy being bribed by Mommy with popping candies? The second Yi Wan Wan's words hit, those ancient, dusty memories all rushed before his eyes. How did she know? Si Yihin's eyes shot open, and his voice was hoarse and dry. Remembered. Yi Wan Wan narrowed her eyes. Not only do I remember, but I also remember every single detail. I thought everything was my wishful thinking, and you received one-sided dogged harassment from me back then. I thought I brutally ravaged you. I thought I forcefully debauched you. So I felt pretty bad the whole time. Who knew? It turns out you were a wolf in sheep's clothing and kept playing hard to get and tricking me in all sorts of ways. Aren't you too crafty? Yuan couldn't stop her universe from exploding when this was brought up. As Yihin listened to the girl running through these memories word by word, he felt like something lost from his heart was slowly returning to his body bit by bit, swelling him up. How could it be forced from start to end? It was me who methodically tried to keep you. It was me who couldn't live without you. The man's hoarse voice came from the other end and extinguished all of Yuan's anger instantly, leaving behind a pile of ash. Fuck, that should be illegal. Who allowed you to suddenly start sweet-talking me out of nowhere? I'm telling you, it doesn't work on me, Yuan grumbled. After you left, I kept waiting for you at home. I was afraid you wouldn't find me when you returned, Yihin said. Damn, illegal. Wan, I want to see you. When Yuan heard his repressed voice, she didn't even have a speck of ash left, and flowers started popping and blooming everywhere. Do you think I don't? My dad and mom are both keeping me under tight lock and key right now. I was only able to send Tang over because I spent money to bribe my brother. Yihin squeezed his phone, knowing he was too impulsive this time. I will think of a method. In view of his performance in front of her parents last time, Yuan expressed her doubts. At the same time, a swab of dark clouds dispersed, revealing an island located on the northern side of the independent state, seemingly secluded from the rest of the world. It silently towered there like a gigantic, torrential beast that wanted to devour every living being that passed. The gales were the roars of the beast, striking terror in its listeners' hearts. The enormous island stretched as far as the eye could see. There were many intersecting dirt roads and an enormous prison in the center sealed off by specially made iron fences. No one could enter. No one could leave. Currently, a young man was using a hoe to dig away the dirt on the exterior, as though he wanted to excavate a tunnel out of the prison with the might of one. Ha, lad, you haven't been here for too long. When you've been here longer, you'll get used to it. That's right. If we could get out by digging like you, we would have left ages ago. Why would we have waited until now? On the side, a few middle-aged men looked at the young man and spoke up in exasperation. Hearing that, the young man smashed his hoe into the ground with tinges of despair. Lad, what's her name? The leader of the middle-aged men inquired. The young man was silent for a moment before slowly looking up. Xia. The men looked at each other. His surname was Si. Don't tell me you're a member of the Si clan? The only people in the independent state with the surname Si originated from the Si clan. Now, how am I considered a member of the Si clan? Xia's lips curled up in a bitter smile. Brother Xia, just what happened? How did you get captured here? The lead man asked Xia with a furrow of his brows. This place was the land of despair. Everyone thought the martial arts union possessed an underground prison, and the deepest level held the most vicious, evil, and serious criminals. However, this was the true location of the martial arts union's scariest prison. My father's name in the independent state is probably Si Wuqian, Xia uttered after some time. Si Wuqian? Isn't he the egregious traitor from the Si clan? You're his son? The middle-aged men all looked surprised. Si Wuqian had some degree of fame in the independent state back then. His fame increased, especially after he was expelled from the Si clan. However, in recent years, Si Wuqian seemed to have left the independent state and vanished without a trace. Originally, I came to the independent state to find my father and followed the clues to the Si clan. However, they claimed I was a son of a sinner and instructed the martial arts union to lock me into this wretched place. Xia's eyes shone coldly. After learning his story, the middle-aged men sighed. If that was the case, it was already an incredible fortune that the Si clan didn't kill Xia on the spot. There wasn't much to complain about. Suddenly, a boiling cauldron of voices invaded the island. There was news released that someone saw Ji Shiran, Emperor Ji, on the island earlier. Even Emperor Ji got captured to this deplorable place? How's that possible? I can't believe it. Even a figure like Ji Shiran it wasn't only Emperor Ji. There's also the leader of Heavenly Owl, Haitang One. Heavenly Owl, the Fearless Alliance's elder brother. Even Haitang got captured. Both Emperor Ji and Heavenly Owl are the most superior powers in the independent state. How could that be? It appears the independent state will really have a change of weather. In a shabby, dim jail where the smell of mold permeated the air, a man's good-looking face was ghastly pale without a trace of blood. A woman stared at the man, her brows locked together. Masterly, Shiran's body, the leader of Heavenly Owl, Haitang, looked at the white-haired elderly man who was conducting an examination on the man. There isn't any medical equipment here, so I'm unable to examine him in detail, but my preliminary calculation is that he probably only has a few months at most, Masterly replied with a shake of his head and a sigh. Haitang stared at Ji Shiran, unable to imagine that this man was about to pass from this world. It's fine. A placid smile spread across the man's pale face. I've gained enough already. Truthfully, you should know, Haitang, that Emperor Ji's situation is considered a miracle already. Masterly shook his head. Back then, it was me who diagnosed Emperor Ji's terminal illness and judged that he would only have 2 to 3 years left at most. The fact that Emperor Ji was able to prolong his life until today and survive relied entirely on unimaginable willpower. The price for this willpower was that he had to endure unimaginable pain every single day. Masterly lamented. I didn't expect you to have entered this place with Haitang. Masterly, Ji Shiran remarked. That day, Masterly was enjoying some tea with me, so he encountered this undeserved calamity. I feel rather apologetic. Haitang turned to Masterly. What are you saying, Haitang? Whether I'm captured or not would make no difference to me. How much longer can a bag of old bones like me possibly dwell on this earth? I'll eventually turn into a skeleton, so I don't mind, Masterly responded. Masterly, is Shiran's illness incurable? Haitang asked with a frown. Masterly was silent for a moment before shaking his head. To Emperor Ji right now, every day might be painful, right? It's bearable. Don't worry, Ji Shiran assured Haitang with a light chuckle. Emperor Ji, Haitang, I'm going to go out first to examine the conditions here. After Masterly fixed Ji Shiran's clothing, he stood up and left the jail. The jails here were tantamount to decorations. They weren't locked, and you could enter and leave as you wish, serving as living quarters essentially. It was this entire island that was the true prison. Unimaginable willpower. Is it because of worryless Shiran? After Masterly left, Haitang turned to this man, whose perpetual smile still hung on his face. Even though he learned his time on this earth was limited and he needed to consume a large quantity of medicine every day and suffer from pain unimaginable to normal people, his face still wore that extremely infectious smile. Is it worryless that's allowed you to persevere until today? Is it because you couldn't accept not finding her? Haitang sighed. Ji Shiran grew silent. What? A long while later, Haitang looked at Ji Shiran. You should know worryless better than me, no? And Ji Shiran asked. Back then, you were diagnosed with a terminal illness by Masterly, so you intentionally distanced yourself from worryless. You love her so much and considered her your life. Why didn't you tell her the truth? Why did you hurt her so thoroughly and distance her from you? Haitang said, worryless? Ji Shiran sank into thought between responding. I merely consider her a younger sister. Younger sister? Haitang shook her head. Have you started fooling yourself too now? Ji Shiran smiled faintly and fell into silence. You know you wouldn't have much longer to live, so you intentionally alienated her and distanced her from yourself. Do you think I didn't know? You were unwilling to hurt her, so you chose to suffer by yourself. And last time, you clashed with Lord Azura at the Shun estate. The real reason was Your heart ached, right? You nearly lost all rationality. Haitang finished exasperatedly. Lord Azura, is it? He should be someone worthy of being entrusted with her for the rest of her life. Ji Xiran murmured softly some time later. Was it worth it? Haitang asked a long while later. What do you think? Ji Xiran narrowed his eyes. Regardless of how untrustable someone else is, he's still not you. Haitang stared at Ji Xiran, this man who she couldn't understand at all. Pa! Suddenly, Ji Xiran spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Are you okay? Haitang shot forward to support Ji Xiran. Ji Xiran was silent for a moment before slowly standing up. He shook his head and said, I don't have time. As Masterly said, right now, you suffer every day, right? Your strong willpower comes from Worryless. Now that Worryless has returned, your wish is fulfilled, right? You persisted for so long just so you could see Worryless again. An indescribable emotion broiled in Haitang's eyes. Ji Xiran continued to stay silent. With your body's current condition, you can't attack at all. However, you exchanged blows with Lord Azura last time. You're killing yourself. If it weren't for that time, your body wouldn't have deteriorated this much, Haitang said. It's all the same. Ji Xiran shook his head. I said I don't have much time left. When they captured me, my illness happened to act up. Coming here, I consider it my last act for Worryless. The man trudged his way outside the cell, his face ashen. Staring after Ji Xiran's departing figure, Haitang didn't say a word. Just what did this man want to do? With his crippled body, what could he do currently? Haitang finally stood up as well and followed Ji Xiran. Elsewhere on the island, in an extremely dilapidated room, Ji Xiran slowly entered the room. Emperor Ji, the dozen or so men and women all stood up upon spotting Ji Xiran. Xiran, how did you get captured here? The leader, an apathetic man, stared at Ji Xiran and asked with a frown. The speaker was one of the 8 gods under Emperor Ji, the first god. No one had ever seen the first god, and no one knew that this first god had landed on this island many, many years ago. Don't ask unnecessary questions. How's the investigation? Ji Xiran asked instead. The martial arts union. They must want to dominate the independent state, a woman answered after a while. Continue, Ji Xiran said. The first god replied. On this island, we discovered the direct line, and the martial arts union have joined forces. Emperor Ji, you should also know that the direct line has started retaliating these last few years. They secretly persuaded every patrician family to defect, and everyone who was unwilling to submit and pledge allegiance ended up assassinated later, the woman said with a frown. The martial arts union is behind all of this. Their ambitions will probably send the independent state into unrest. Ji Xiran closed his eyes and considered it for a moment before shaking his head. Not necessarily. It was true that the martial arts union was connected to the direct line, but they might not really be obeying the direct line. Emperor Ji, you mean the martial arts union? Huh? Interesting. Ji Xiran smiled faintly. Perhaps the martial arts union is protecting everyone. The people looked at each other, bewildered. The martial arts union? Protect everyone? Most of the factions on this island oppose the direct line. If the martial arts union was obeying the direct line, what they would have done is kill us, not imprison us, Ji Xiran quietly explained. Ji Xiran's hypothesis exceeded everyone's expectations. However, no one dared to vocalize any doubts. Ji Xiran, the youngest sage in the independent state. This man had never been wrong in any of the life or death decisions he made regarding the Ji family or his underground syndicates. Not a single one. Right now, Ji Xiran's breathing was a bit chaotic and his back was bent. He took this opportunity to sit down on a nearby shabby chair. Actually, I knew beforehand that the martial arts union wanted to act against me. I merely didn't want to resist, Ji Xiran quietly revealed to everyone. On the side, Haitang furrowed her brows. When Ji Xiran was caught, he happened to be having an episode with his illness. So she originally thought Ji Xiran didn't have the strength to resist. She didn't expect that he had never intended to resist and was willingly captured to this secluded prison. Jishiran's first god was pensive. Back then, Jishiran instructed him to infiltrate the direct line. He coincidentally discovered this island during a mission and reported it to Jishiran later. Jishiran originally thought this island was related to the direct line and had him sneak in here and pretend to be a captured prisoner. Achin. Jishiran turned to the man and quietly said, "You've worked hard these years." The man shook his head. "Shiran, don't say that. In truth, you've been collecting intelligence about the direct line all these years. The true guardian of the independent state is you." Hiding scrutinized this scholarly man in front of her. It seemed only the words calm and nonchalant could completely describe him. He has done too many things for the independent state. "Did you get any information about the direct line?" Jishiran inquired. "I did." Achin nodded. "First of all, Nialinglong became a member of the direct line long ago. We can't underestimate Nialinglong's power. She's extremely ambitious and has obtained quite a lot of power in the direct line already. You already know this, Shiran." Jishiran nodded. "Anything else?" "There's one more thing." Achin mulled it over for a while before saying, "While I was undercover in the direct line, I once saw a mysterious man received by the top higher-ups of the direct line. And this man seemed to be very interested in a pair of rings that signified the paramount power of the Rose of Death." A pair of rings. Jishiran turned pensive and vaguely recalled that Worryless once showed him 2 rings. He himself didn't know about the origins of those 2 rings. Furthermore, he remembered Worryless saying that she was hunted by the direct line because of these rings. Sometime later, Emperor Ji narrowed his eyes. Putting together all those pieces of information, he was afraid the 2 rings Worryless had were most likely the symbols of the paramount power of the Rose of Death. It was because of this that the direct line attacked her. Everyone knew that all the factions in the independent state teamed up and eradicated the Rose of Death back then. Other people might not know the truth, but Jishiran was well aware. The Rose of Death had been lived through several dozen generations, and its power spanned throughout the world. So how could it be completely destroyed so easily? Back then, the leader of the Rose of Death was killed on the spot, but the majority of the Rose of Death power was still scattered around the world. Legend said that a Rose of Death liaison existed in the independent state. As soon as the ring that symbolized the paramount power of the Rose of Death appeared, the liaison could contact all the elites scattered around the world to gather together. That was the supreme ring, but that ring wasn't found on the corpse of the Rose of Death's leader after they died. Jishiran frowned. How did that pair of rings end up in Worryless hands? The only thing he knew was that the previous leader of the Rose of Death was somewhat related to the Nye family. They were distant relatives, if he recalled correctly. However, during that battle, the Nye family placed righteousness above family loyalty and participated in the eradication of the Rose of Death's leader. Just what connection is there? What does it all mean? Shiran murmured, his complexion turning paler. Haitang became anxious. Shiran, stop thinking. Rest a little first. This man's body was starting to fail already. Do you have a pen and paper? Shiran inquired instead. I do, but Shiran, your body. Achan's face brimmed with worry. It's fine. Give me a pen and some paper, Shiran instructed. Achan sighed. He knew that no one could change Shiran's mind after he decided. Achan had no choice but to take out a pen and paper. Mysterious person. Ring. The direct line. What is the relationship between these 3 things? Shiran's pen rapidly raced across the yellowing piece of paper, writing down query after query. Right now, Worryless enemies were the martial arts union and the direct line. Precisely speaking, it was that mysterious man who could freely enter and leave the direct line. The mysterious man was interested in the rings Worryless possessed, which was why she was hunted. Currently speaking, the biggest threat was still that mysterious man. The martial arts union was in the open, while that mysterious man was in the shadows, akin to a poisonous snake, icy and eerie. After writing down connection after connection, Shiran's expression abruptly changed. Some past events surfaced in his mind. Could it be? Shiran frowned, astonishment leaking into his eyes. Haiding stared at Ji Shiran, about to say something, and realized that Ji Shiran had shredded the densely covered piece of yellow paper. A second later, a rivulet of shocking blood seeped out of the corner of Ji Shiran's mouth. Shiran! Haiding caught Ji Shiran. This man is using his own life as fuel. Why is he doing this? How can he disregard his own life? Haitang, Emperor Ji. Masterly burst inside and hastily said, "A foolish youth named Xia who arrived recently couldn't stand being trapped inside the prison and actually attempted to escape by swimming. Coincidentally, during his escape, he actually discovered the Martial Arts Union's supply storehouse. There's a large amount of medicine in there. It might be useless." Haitang's expression was complicated. Shiran's body can't maintain itself any longer, relying solely on drugs, perhaps. You should know better than me, right, Masterly? Everyone's expressions quickly dimmed. Indeed, it was as Haitang said. Ji Shiran had grown resistant to the drugs. Further, his body was deteriorating too significantly. So even if he didn't have any drug resistance, the side effects of the medicine would be enough to take Ji Shiran's life away. Ji Shiran panted heavily and promptly pulled out the pen and paper again. He wrote a large block of words before folding the paper and tucking it away in his pocket. "Thank you for your company these years, everyone." Ji Shiran looked at them, a gentle, soothing smile on his face. On the island, there were special people every day who would ride the ferry several times and prepare food for everyone on the island. In this isolated island prison, Emperor Ji stayed inside the supply storehouse Xia discovered for half a month without taking a single step outside. No one knew what Ji Shiran was doing, and only Haidang was responsible for delivering food to Ji Shiran every day. These last few days, Achan visited him, asking for an audience, but Ji Shiran wouldn't see anyone. Achan had no choice but to leave with a sigh. On this day, the wind was mild, the sun was shining, and the sky was clear of clouds. A strong burst of wind blew past, and it provided an indescribable pleasure. Creak. The door to the storehouse was slowly pushed open. Dressed in a snowy white shirt, Ji Shiran strode out of the storehouse. Shiran, Haitang, who had been guarding it, hastily walked up when she saw Ji Shiran. A faint smile hung on Ji Shiran's lips. He looked at Haidang and lightly asked, "The weather is nice. How about we go for a walk?" "Okay." Haidang nodded and walked next to Ji Shiran. Ji Shiran didn't speak a word the whole time, and Haidang also didn't know what to say. Sometime later, Ji Shiran pulled out a meticulously wrapped box from his pocket and informed Haidang to please give this box to worryless Nya in the future. When it was the afternoon, Haidang turned to Ji Shiran and suggested, "Shiran, it's windy. Let's go back. Can you please let me walk by myself?" Ji Shiran asked her with a light chuckle. Haidang shook her head without the slightest hesitation. With Ji Shiran's current condition, it'd be better for him to rest more. "You should go back first." Ji Shiran snapped his fingers at Haidang. Following the snap, Haidang subconsciously walked back the way they came, as though she was bewitched. She realized she had underestimated him. This man's hypnotism skills. After Haitang left, Ji Shiran stood by the sea with his hands behind him, his gentle eyes softly looking at the boundless ocean. People believe the ocean is blue, but they don't know the color of the sea is ever-changing, Ji Shiran murmured. Sometimes dark blue, sometimes azure, sometimes light yellow, sometimes mahogany. Isn't that true for life as well? The man stood with his hands behind him, his clothes rustling from the ocean breeze as he stared into the horizon. His figure seemed to be eternally frozen at that moment. A long while later, he sat down on the ground as though he was enjoying this last rare moment of contentedness. An unknown amount of time passed, and the ocean waves gently lapped up the spot where the man sat, but he had disappeared. Looming Journey. Where to Go this chapter is scrapped from Read Light Novel. Org Foreign Pictures. Admire in 3 mysterious mortal hearts. Well-being your own, 1,000 vicissitudes experienced, regard as nil sun setting west. Dusk here again elegant and graceful. Burden no more unrestable time. The grave approaching boundless universe. Return to nothing. The second Haidang returned to the center of the island. She jolted awake and almost instantly went back the way she came, but she couldn't find Ji Xiuran's figure anymore. Xiuran. The woman clenched her fists, turmoil brimming in her eyes. Ji Xiuran. This man amazed her ceaselessly. In her heart, he was unrivaled in the world and untainted by even a speck of dust. However, he remained in the dark and was unable to leave. In his last moments, the man looked like he was removed from the racket of the world, never to have any burdens ever again. Burdens he should have had in the past, burdens he shouldn't have in the present, and burdens he wouldn't have in the future. This man always appeared to be a ball of mystery, never walking out from the fog, but never walking into the fog. Half a month passed. At the Fearless Alliance, Yi Wanwan flung the document in her hand aside, a chilly glint surfacing in her eyes. Too much time had passed. Those missing people vanished in thin air and hadn't reappeared. The Fearless Alliance had dispatched its most outstanding scouts to secretly investigate, but didn't have any inklings on what happened despite searching for many days. That afternoon, Yi Wanwan got a call from Siyin. Island? What do you mean? Yi Wanwan looked puzzled. Over the phone, Siyin told her that Azura discovered an island located in a secluded region of the independent state's territorial waters. An island like this existed everywhere, so Yi Wanwan didn't find anything strange about it. There are people guarding the perimeters of the island, Siyin added. Yi Wanwan's brows locked together. If it was merely an island, there was nothing strange about it, but if the island was guarded, then it had to be unusual, since there are people guarding it. What you're saying is that the people who disappeared from the independent state were all captured and taken to that island. Yi Wanwan hastily asked. Not necessarily, Siyin replied. Yi Wanwan mulled it over in her head for a moment. Siyin was right. Some faction might have turned the island into a supply storehouse or was extracting something from there. No matter what, they had to thoroughly investigate it first, since they finally managed to obtain a somewhat valuable clue. Ajia, where is it? Tell me. However, Siyin sank into silence. Talk. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. I'll tell you after I look into it, Siyin replied. Yi Wanwan knew Siyin was worried about her putting herself in danger. If that island really was a prison, it would definitely be extremely treacherous. However, Yi-Wanwan didn't want Siyin to shoulder everything by himself, since it was her who wanted to investigate this matter from the start, not Siyin. Nonetheless, based on Yi Wanwan's understanding of Siyin, she knew he wouldn't say anything more regardless of how she pressed the issue, so she didn't bother wasting her words. How's Tang Tang? Is he doing all right with you? Yi Wanwan asked instead. He misses you, Siyin replied. Before Yi Wanwan could respond, he added, Me too. Yi Wanwan, why the heck do I feel like his EQ skyrocketed? Don't tell me. Tang Tang taught you to say that, right? Yi Wanwan hit the nail on the head. Siyin. After a moment of silence, Siyin said, I have a meeting. I'll talk to you later. Then Siyin hastily hung up. Yi Wanwan put her phone back on the desk and propped her chin on the back of her hand. Could it be he got flustered after being seen through? Father and son seemed to be getting along rather well. Yi Wanwan's worries were completely assuaged. With the father and the son's personalities, Yi Wanwan was afraid they'd only exchange a handful of words after an entire day. How could they cultivate affection without verbal exchanges? At this moment, Yi Wanwan started ringing again. It was a video call from Tang Tang. Yi Wanwan accepted the call immediately. Tang Tang was sitting in the living room in his pajamas, and the kitchen was located behind him. And there was a man bustling about in the kitchen. Yi Wanwan was astonished. Siyin's cooking himself? I didn't see it wrong, right? How come I can't link Siyin and cooking together no matter what? Yi Wanwan subconsciously rubbed her eyes and realized she was seeing it correctly indeed. Wait, didn't Siyin just tell me he had a meeting to attend? This was the meeting. Mommy, Tong Tong's eyes sparkled when he saw Yi Wanwan. Tang Tang, Are you doing all right at Daddy's? Yuan grinned at her son. Tang Tang shook his head, though. Hungry. Hungry. Yuan was dumbfounded. Isn't his real dad cooking right now? Daddy's cooking is bad. Tang Tang seemed to have caught Yuan's thoughts. Yuan, good Tang Tang. Call your daddy over, Yuan said. Daddy, Tang Tang called. Almost done, Si Yihin calmly replied. Mommy's calling you, Tang Tang responded. Si Yihin was startled briefly and automatically turned to look at Tang Tang's phone. Si Yihin, your meeting finished so quickly? Yuan snickered as she surveyed Si Yihin, who was wearing an apron and had a spatula in his hand. His outfit looked out of sorts no matter how she looked at it, and was almost comical upon a closer look. Mommy, Daddy doesn't have a meeting today, Tang Tang casually interjected. Oh, Yuan looked pensive. Si Yihin, Tang Tang, be good with Daddy. Mommy will come pick you up in a few days, okay? Yuan shifted her gaze away from Si Yihin and settled on Tang Tang. Tang Tang nodded. Mommy, I'm going to eat now. The video call ended. When Yuan's face disappeared from the screen, Si Yihin stared at Tang Tang, and Tang Tang also stared at Si Yihin, adult and child gazing at each other speechlessly. At the fearless alliance, Yuan's lips turned up. Tang Tang truly was her real son. He sold his real dad out without any hesitation. She could imagine the indescribable emotions simmering inside Si Yihin right now. However, he sired the child, so he had to look after Tang Tang even if he was on his knees. Sis Phone, you were looking for me? A moment later, Big Dipper's gargantuan head slipped through the narrow slit of the doors, looking at Yuan. Aren't you afraid of your head getting clipped by the doors? Enter. Yuan frowned. Okay. Big Dipper pushed open the office doors and sprinted to her desk. I want to ask you, how's the investigation gone these past few days? Yuan asked seriously. Sis Phone, truthfully, it's really not my fault. Aren't First Elder and 7-Star also unsuccessful? I think that more haste would lead to less speed. We got to slowly search for the people, just like how we have to drink water slowly. Big Dipper guiltily replied. Do you believe that I'll soak your head in water? Yuan retorted. Don't, Sis Phone. I'll look immediately. I will keep searching nonstop, and I'll find them even if I have to turn the independent state upside down. Yuan sighed helplessly. Azura had gone to the sea, and they were still searching in the independent state. They wouldn't find Emperor Ji, even if they searched for 100 years. Go to the sea. Search the nearby islands, Yuan ordered. Big Dipper was startled at first before promptly slapping his thigh. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? There are a lot of islands nearby, so maybe those missing people got imprisoned on an island. Big Dipper gave Yuan a thumbs up. Sis Phone, you're truly unparalleled in both history and the future. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Profound and immeasurable. Yuan was dumbfounded. What the heck is profound and immeasurable? Isn't the saying profound and enigmatic? Big Dipper gazed at Yuan with overflowing admiration. However, this admiration was too excessive and obviously contained some bootlicking. Sis Phone, aside from our fearless alliance, I discovered that people from Azura also seem to be investigating this matter. Big Dipper reported to Yuan a moment later. Got it. Yuan nodded. Azura had discovered the location of the island already, and he just realized people from Azura were investigating this matter. Sis Phone, actually, I have a better idea, Big Dipper mysteriously said. Actually, Sis Phone, we can send some people to follow Azura. This way, wouldn't we save our concern, time, and energy? Yuan turned pensive herself when she heard that. Big Dipper's suggestion was actually quite good. Si Yihin was afraid of endangering her, so he wasn't willing to inform her of the location of the guarded island. But if the Fearless Alliance sent someone to secretly follow Azura's investigation team, wouldn't the location of the island be revealed? Of course, even if they wanted to follow Azura, it wouldn't be so easy. If Yuan had Big Dipper follow them, she could swear that this idiot would get caught on the spot by Azura's investigation squad. Sis Phone, have 800% confidence in me, and leave this matter to me. There absolutely won't be any problems. I'll have our men take the water route and investigate the nearby islands while I, the youngest super right-hand man of the Fearless Alliance, will take on the burden of personally following Azura's investigation team. That way, it doesn't matter which side gets the information first. We'll win no matter what. It's perfect. Big Dipper looked incredibly excited. Sis Feng, I'm a genius, right? Yuan. Yuan felt her head pounding and massaged her temples before looking at Big Dipper again. No need. You better personally investigate the nearby islands instead. Huh? Why? Big Dipper was flabbergasted. Tailing someone. It's my specialty. Why? Yuan glanced at Big Dipper. I'm afraid I will need to go to Azura and pay a ransom for you later. Big Dipper. Despite Big Dipper's intense request, Yuan continued to reject him multiple times without any hesitation. In the end, Big Dipper could only downheartedly lead people to inspect the waters. As for tracking Azura's investigation squad, Yuan handed the responsibility to First Elder and 7-Star. In the Fearless Alliance, First Elder was knowledgeable and multi-talented, while 7-Star was steady and reserved. These two people working together made Yuan feel rather at ease. No major problems would likely occur. Yuan used these few days to make a trip back to the Nye residence. Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye kept asking for news about Tang Dang, and Yuan could only carefully fend them off and tell her parents Tang Dang was still going to school and had a lot of school assignments recently. Thankfully, her parents didn't press too hard and didn't seem to be suspicious. 2 days later, Nye Linglong returned to the Nye residence, though, and apologized to Yuan with great sincerity in front of Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye. Sister, I'm sorry. If I wasn't deceived by that impostor, you wouldn't need to have suffered so many grievances. It's all my fault for making you suffer, sister. Nye Linglong stood in the living room, looking at Yuan with an anxious expression. Yuan smiled faintly. What are you saying? You were also tricked. After all, you aren't intelligent to the point of seeing through an impostor with a single look, right? Nye Linglong's eyes were brimming with apathy when she heard that, but she replied, You're right, sister. Yuan's lips turned up, humor brimming in her eyes. Yuan had no idea what Nye Linglong's objectives were, but no matter what, since this woman wanted to play, she would play with her to the end. Now, Nye Linglong and that impostor didn't have a dominant foothold in the Nye family anymore, and Yuan had the complete upper hand. However, she currently didn't need to launch a ferocious attack on Nye Linglong yet. Yuan merely wanted to see what objectives Nye Linglong had and what she wanted to do by staying undercover in the Nye family. Linglong, you should indeed apologize to your sister Worryless, Madame Nye said to Nye Linglong. Yes, Mom. I know that if it wasn't for me, sister wouldn't have suffered so many grievances. Nye Linglong sighed helplessly. We can only blame that impostor for having such good acting skills and preparing thoroughly before pretending to be sister, so it was very hard for me to see through her. Upon hearing this, Patriarch and Madame Nye directed a few glances toward Nye Linglong. In truth, they couldn't blame Nye Linglong completely. They were Worryless parents, but didn't they also not discover that impostor's identity? Linglong, did you really mistake Worryless? Patriarch Nye meaningfully looked at Nye Linglong. Nye Linglong nodded with great certainty and replied, Dad, that impostor truly concealed herself too well. Moreover, didn't Dad and Mom also not realize the truth? Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye met each other's eyes. This truly rendered them speechless. Dad, Mom. Yuan looked at her parents and faintly smiled. Sister Linglong was also deceived. No matter what, she merely wanted to find me as soon as possible. Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye glanced at Yuan, but didn't say anything else. The matter regarding Nye Linglong mistaking Worryless Nye still required a thorough investigation. Sister, I'm very sorry, Nye Linglong said to Yuan. Nonsense. There's nothing to apologize between us sisters. Yi Wanwan replied with a light chuckle. After leaving the Nye residence, Yi Wanwan returned to the Fearless Alliance's headquarters. You were looking for me, President? Third Elder asked Yi Wanwan as he entered the office. Yi Wanwan looked at Third Elder and said, I need you to go and stalk a person. Pray tell, President. Third Elder eagerly nodded. Nye Linglong. The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips turned up. Nye Linglong. Third Elder's expression turned a little strange. President, isn't Nye Linglong your younger sister? Why are we stalking her? Who didn't know about worryless Nye and Nye Linglong's relationship? Furthermore, they now knew that their president's true identity was worryless Nye of the Nye family and was Nye Linglong's sister. Don't ask about this point. Just remember that from today onward, every place that Nye Linglong visits, every person that she sees, you have to remember them all with no oversights. Yi Wanwan instructed seriously. Don't worry, President. Leave this matter to me. I'll track her perfectly. Third Elder agreed with a nod. Third Elder was about to leave when Yi Wanwan stopped him. Nye Linglong probably isn't as simple as she appears, so you also have to be extremely careful. You mustn't get discovered by her. There's one thing you must remember, though. If Nye Linglong discovers you, forget about everything. Fleeing is the best strategy. Yi Wanwan specifically warned. Based on Yi Wanwan's observations, Nye Linglong absolutely wasn't as simple as she appeared. If she wanted to topple the Nye family using a mere imposter, that was an utter fantasy story. Unless, A. Nye Linglong was overly powerful herself. B. Nye Linglong had a supporter behind her. C. This was the undesirable outcome to Yi Wanwan. Nye Linglong was overly powerful herself, and she had a supporter behind her. What are you worried about, President? Third Elder expressed his incomprehension toward Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan stayed silent. Perhaps she was overthinking, but she had a nagging feeling that this investigation and tracking of Nye Linglong wasn't a simple mission and might even prove treacherous. Her earlier words were uttered in hopes that Third Elder would treat this mission very cautiously and wouldn't lower his guard in the slightest. Anyway, remember these following words. As soon as there's anything that can threaten your life, abandon this mission immediately, Yi Wanwan ordered solemnly. Third Elder smiled. His president was probably underestimating him. He was merely stalking a woman. So how could his life possibly be threatened? Don't worry, President. This subordinate will definitely operate carefully and absolutely won't slip up. After saying that, Third Elder left the office without looking back. As soon as Third Elder left, Nameless Nye entered her office with a devil-may-care attitude. My dear sister, what are you doing? Nameless Nye sat down on the sofa, flippantly, and picked up an apple from the fruit tray. Yi Wanwan immediately glanced at him. Him coming to the Fearless Alliance definitely didn't represent anything good. Perfect. I still need to settle an account with you, yet you came running to me yourself, Yi Wanwan grumpily said. Yesterday, you came to the Fearless Alliance and used my name to force the Fearless Alliance to hire your squad. What are you doing, huh? Does my Fearless Alliance lack manpower? Sister, what are you saying? The mission that the Fearless Alliance needed to do yesterday was so dangerous. The Fearless Alliance is yours, sister, and I'm your real brother, so of course I need to look after you well. I'm telling you, the squad the Fearless Alliance hired is my best team. Nameless Nye hastily said. Yi Wanwan. Freaking, they're good, but the main point is their hiring fee is also high. The Fearless Alliance hasn't worked in their old profession for a while now, so their finances were quite tight right now. Did you come here because Dad and Mom wanted me to go back? Yi Wanwan asked curiously. Nameless Nye shook his head and replied, Sister, haven't you been searching for those missing people lately? Since the Fearless Alliance hasn't found any leads despite searching for so long, how about you hire my squad? I can swear to the heavens that my squad is absolutely handy. Yi Wanwan nearly spat blood onto his face. Is this idiot seriously that poor? She previously heard that Nameless Nye led spray of flowers and Taoist devotee to Azura and hustled a large sum from them. Yuan Wan was about to refuse him when her eyes turned and a smile spread across her face. Don't worry about the search for the missing people, brother. However, I do have something here for you. Nameless Nie finished eating the rest of his apple with one bite and hastily said, Look, what did I say? What problem do you have, sister? You have to tell me your brother. I'm your real brother. Which real brother wouldn't love his younger sister? Hurry and tell me. What is it? I have lots of people. Yuan Wan, you freaking. You just want to earn money. Yuan Wan's lips turned up into an inscrutable smile. In truth, it's very simple. I want to stalk someone. Can your people do it? It might be somewhat dangerous. Damn, stalking. That's our specialty. Regardless of whether the one you want to follow is human, ghost, or demon, we can do it all. Nameless Nia nodded and instantly sat up straight, looking rather like a boss. I don't need you to stalk demons and ghosts. Help me stalk Nia Linglong. A chilly glint flashed through Yi Wanwan's eyes. Sure, anyone you want. Don't worry. Nameless Nia vehemently nodded. Suddenly, Nameless Nia froze and became dumbfounded. Huh, follow Nia Linglong? That's right. Yi Wanwan nodded. Say, worryless, are you all right? Why do you want to stalk Nia Linglong? Nameless Nia was bewildered. Brother, I actually wanted to tell you this a long time ago. Yi Wanwan looked at Nameless Nia. That imposter was actually hired by Nia Linglong. Nameless Nia was startled and became incredulous. The imposter was hired by Nia Linglong? Damn, are you serious, sister? It was you who adamantly brought Nia Linglong into the Nia family all those years ago, but now she wants to turn around and hurt you? Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. In truth, she also didn't know what insanity struck her back then or why she bring Nia Linglong back to the Nia family. Was it simply because she felt sorry for Nia Linglong? However, Yi Wanwan hadn't recovered this portion of her memories yet. Do you believe in me or Nia Linglong? Yi Wanwan intently stared at Nameless Nia. Nonsense. Nameless Nia shot up suddenly. You're my real sister. Nia Linglong is nothing. Yi Wanwan snapped her fingers. Exactly. Fucking. I knew it. I knew that Nia Linglong wasn't anything good. That backstabber. She actually found an imposter to impersonate you and pretended to be so innocent. Even I got deceived by her. I'm so angry. Nameless Nia was incensed. Nope, I can't. I can't take this outrage lying down. Yi Wanwan felt her head swelling when she saw Nameless Nia about to leave. This was why she wasn't willing to tell Nameless Nia before this. She was afraid of Nameless Nia's explosive temper. Stop right there. Yi Wanwan immediately sprinted forward and blocked his path. Nameless Nia asked, Worryless, why are you stopping me? Since when did you turn into a living Buddha? Huh? Nia Linglong is stomping on your head and shit. Before Nameless Nia could finish uttering the last syllable, Yi Wanwan glared at him and he broke it off. She was a stray adopted by you into the Nia family. It's fine if she doesn't act grateful, but she's treating you like this, yet you're still tolerating it? Are you a living Buddha? Should I kneel before you and burn some joss sticks for you? Nameless Nia angrily shouted at her. Yi Wanwan looked at this aggravated, Nameless Nia standing before her and inexplicably felt like this real brother of hers was rather protective actually. Boss Nia, go on. Go kill her. It appears you aren't too interested in this business deal. Yi Wanwan lamented with a sigh. Nameless Nia, go on. Yi Wanwan glanced at Nameless Nia, who was rooted to his spot. Forget it. I'll listen to you. Let's talk business first. Nameless Nia seriously sat back down on the sofa. I want your best scouts to help me monitor Nia Linglong's every move, and you can't allow her to discover you, Yi Wanwan said grimly. For some reason, Yi Wanwan felt her mind ill at ease regarding Third Elder. Although it was just a feeling, Yi Wanwan didn't dare to take a gamble. She felt like Third Elder might die while investigating Nia Linglong. Although Third Elder obeyed Yi Wanwan's every word, his bad habits were difficult to correct. He was overly arrogant. Third Elder would definitely look down on Nia Linglong, and that might turn out to be a ruinous mistake for him. In truth, Third Elder wasn't the only one. who in the Fearless Alliance wasn't arrogant and conceited. Nameless Nia's people were different, though. Yuanwan had interacted with Nameless Nia's mercenary teams before. They were true teams with a distinctive division of tasks. Although each squad didn't have a lot of members, each member was the creme de la creme and formed a terrifying, formidable team together. As long as you paid them adequately, they would provide you with an unprecedented feeling of safety. On the other hand, if you didn't pay them enough, the results were unpredictable. Don't worry, sister. However, sister, I have a lot of mercenary teams under me, and, each has a different price. What price range do you want? Nameless Nia asked inquisitively. This amount. Yuanwan extended one finger. 100. Nameless Nia was dumbfounded. 100? It's not even enough for a meal. Yuanwan shook her head. 1,000? 1,000 also isn't enough. Yuanwan narrowed her eyes. Keep guessing. 10. 0, 0, 0. Fine. That's barely enough. Nameless Nia nodded. I will give you 110,000s, Yuanwan said. 10 million. Nameless Nia's eyes bulged out. 110,000s are 10 million? 1 million. Yuanwan snapped, irritated. Nameless Nia swore a blood oath back then that he would bring work to the independent states' mercenaries and get the lowest price to perform the best missions. Giving him 1 million was already an enormous sum. Yet he actually wanted 10 million? Why didn't he go rob someone? Read more chapter on our VIP novel. Calm, one mission? Sure, that works too. Nameless Nia nodded frantically. Don't worry, sister. I'll give you the best team I have. Don't look at me. This money doesn't end up in my pocket. It's all theirs. I only get 15% of it. Brother, tell your people to be more careful. Also, watch over our third elder from the Fearless Alliance, and don't let him get into any danger. I have a feeling that Nye Linglong isn't that simple. Yuanwan furrowed her brows. Sister, don't worry, I know what to do. Your brother isn't good at other things, but I'm a genius in this area. After saying that, Nameless Nia immediately called his team. Hey, I accepted a big job. You're going to have to treat me. I'll tell you the details when I get there. Yuanwan sighed exasperatedly as she watched Nameless Nia leave. Are they at all concerned about Nye Linglong? In truth, hiring Nameless Nia's team this time was a form of double insurance. This 1 million was spent too well. If Third Elder didn't discover anything, she still had Nameless Nia's team. If Third Elder was in any peril, Nameless Nia's team could act rapidly. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. After dealing with this problem, Yuanwan rested for a few moments inside her office. Now that she had recovered her identity as Worryless Nia, it was time to go to Scarlet Flame's Academy to put her cards on the table. Back then, she was the super prodigy of Scarlet Flame's Academy and was also their legendary demon instructor, so she had to have possessed a lot of honor points. She needed to use Worryless Nia's identity to check how many honor points she had, and then ask the headmaster to hypnotize her again. Actually, Yuanwan was very curious why she brought Nye Linglong back to the Nye family. Moreover, it was time to recover the bits and pieces of memory related to Nye Linglong. Late at night, in a secluded spot in the back of the independent state, an elderly man was dressed in black and rapidly dashed through the night as though he was a phantom sliding into the ground. Soon, the elderly man's figure paused, and he examined the woman in the distance. Third Elder's face was icy as he stared at Nye Linglong. He found it really strange why the president made him follow a woman like this, and even said, this woman might threaten his safety. An absolutely unrealistic fantasy story. Follow her further, but maintain your distance. Don't let the target discover you, Third Elder quietly said into his walkie-talkie. Third Elder, this woman has left the independent state's boundaries. Should we keep following her? A voice was soon emitted from the walkie-talkie. Third Elder was silent for a moment before calmly asking, did the target discover you? Absolutely not. Good. Then keep following her, Third Elder coldly commanded. However, Third Elder, the area ahead is outside the limits of the independent state. If any incidents occur, our people won't arrive in time. Should we inform the president first and ask for her opinion? Are you joking? Third elder aloofly rebuked. Do we need to disturb the president's dreams with such a minor matter? All right, we'll listen to third elder. The people in hiding instantly disappeared, and third elder also swiftly followed. About half an hour passed. You're here. A man wearing a veil arrived. Sir, the Nye family might be uncontrollable now. Thankfully, the imposter was killed by that idiot, nameless Nye, or else I might have also been exposed. However, even so, Patriarch and Madame Nye are also suspecting me now, so they might raise cautions against me at any time, Nye Linglong reported to the mysterious man. Huh. The veiled man chuckled lightly. It's fine if things with the Nye family fails. It's not an issue. Right now, worryless Nye is back with the Nye family, and there's a pair of rings in her possession. Your current mission is to retrieve those rings. Okay, I understand. Nye Linglong nodded. All right. Nameless Nye is a bit annoying. Sir, if we eliminate Nameless Nye, the Nye family will become nothing, and we can easily capture the Nye family, Nye Linglong added. The mysterious veiled man fell into silence before responding, all right. If there's an opportunity, eliminate Nameless Nye. But remember, you don't need to directly attack him. There are many methods to kill people like him. Understood, Nye Linglong replied and turned to leave. Hold on, the mysterious man called. Sir, Nye Linglong looked at him. Linglong, did you not realize you were followed for so long? The mysterious man asked. Nye Linglong's lips turned up. I discovered ages ago, but they're just flies. I originally planned to take care of them after seeing you, sir. Be more prudent. After saying that, the mysterious man turned and swiftly disappeared into the pitch-dark night. Only Nye Linglong remained. Nye Linglong expressionlessly inspected her surroundings. What? Worryless, Nye, sent you here to die? A cold glint flashed through someone's eyes. This woman actually discovered them a long time ago and confronted them without any fear. How confident. Third elder, we're exposed. What should we do? Third elder deliberated for a moment before coldly saying, I'll meet her. Third elder walked out from his hiding spot. I was wondering who it was. So it's an elder from the Fearless Alliance. Nye Linglong stared at third elder, her lips curling up with an inexplicable smile. Little girl, our president brought you back to the Nye family when you were young, and the Nye family raised you to adulthood, but you're ungratefully repaying their kindness by stabbing them in the back. Not only do you want to kill Nameless Nye, but you also want to overthrow the entire Nye family. How marble-hearted you are, third elder coldly said to Nye Linglong. Marble-hearted? Nye Linglong glanced at third elder and snorted. I don't think so. I heard that you killed even your own son. So if we put it like that, aren't you more marble-hearted than me? Third elder harumphed. Back then, the president wasn't here. So what if I sacrificed a distant son for power and prestige? However, I wouldn't treat anyone I was indebted to like you did. I can tell that everyone from the Fearless Alliance likes to quibble and make excuses, Nye Linglong retorted. Enough nonsense. Will you come with me to see the president of your own will, or do I need to break your limbs and tie you up to bring back to the president? Third elder shouted aggressively. Nye Linglong stared at third elder with a sneer. If it was when Xiron from your Fearless Alliance, perhaps he would be semi-qualified to play with me. But you old and feeble weaklings, you're dead. Upon hearing Nye Linglong calling him an old and feeble weakling, third elder's eyes shone coldly, and he turned into a black shadow, charging toward Nye Linglong. Forget about you. Even if worryless Nye and her peak came here personally and you two teamed up, so what? As Nye Linglong spoke, a loud bang was heard as she fiercely slammed into third elder. That noise resounded in the spectators' ears like a clap of thunder in the summer sky. The hidden scouts from the Fearless Alliance felt their foreheads soaked with sweat as they watched the intense fight between third elder and Nye Linglong underneath them. They couldn't intercede in this level of fighting. If they tried to help right now, it would be the same as hampering third elder. Hurry and call for support, a scout said. This is outside the independent state's boundaries. Where can we call for help? This location wasn't considered inside the boundaries of the independent state's territory, so whether they could get into contact with people from the Fearless Alliance or not was one thing. Even if they did, it would be daytime by the time their backup arrived. Damn, Third Elder probably isn't a match for that woman. The scouts couldn't help but frown as they watched the fight below. Right now, Third Elder's breathing had turned rapid already. Ling Long was too nimble, and her figure was difficult to distinguish. He seemed to have seen similar techniques a long time ago. "You're a member of the Direct Line?" Third Elder demanded coldly. Most of the Direct Line's body techniques looked like this. "Is there any point for a person about to die to know who I am?" Ling Long loosely grasped a bloody dagger as she stood in her spot. "The Nye family. You're the daughter of the Direct Line's 5th Elder." Third Elder suddenly recalled something. Back then, the Direct Line's 5th Elder died in the great battle between the Direct Line and the Collateral Branch, and his daughter was stranded in the independent state. Could it be the president thought Ling Long to be pitiful and brought her back to the Nye family to be raised? What in the world was the president thinking? Didn't she know Ling Long was the daughter of the Direct Line's 5th Elder? Ling Long snorted but didn't say anything. The dagger in her hand glinted eerily, and her speed turned extremely fast. It was incredibly difficult to see her clearly with a human eye, especially on such a pitch-black night. Third Elder lifted his arms like he was facing a powerful enemy when Ling Long reached him. The sound of the dagger ruthlessly piercing into Third Elder's arm was heard, and fresh blood splashed everywhere. Bang! Third Elder reacted extremely fast, and he angrily roared as he mercilessly struck Ling Long's abdomen, ignoring the ripping agony in his arm. A second later, Ling Long retreated several steps back. "You're truly a loyal and devoted dog." Ling Long surveyed Third Elder in good spirits, whose body had been nearly dyed, completely red from his blood. "A bunch of hogwash. Come here and die." Third Elder yelled. "You won't be so lucky this time." Ling Long raised her dagger again, and there was a chilly glint reflecting off of it akin to a bloodthirsty demon. Swish! The cold glint flickered, dashing through the air extremely fast. Third Elder didn't even have time to react to Ling Long's speed. By the time he could react, he could feel an iciness about to pervade his chest. In a fraction of a second, a stone shot out from the dark and precisely hit the dagger in Ling Long's hand. "Ooh!" Ling Long shouted coldly. Managing to narrowly escape death, Third Elder took a deep breath and also scrutinized his surroundings. "Oh dear, have I disturbed you?" An extremely thin but good-looking man slowly walked out from the dark. A man and woman followed after him. The large character, Higher, was printed on these three people's clothes. Nameless Nye's people. Ling Long's eyes narrowed pensively when she saw this trio. It appeared she was completely exposed. "Fearless Alliance, tell your president to quickly wire the payment to our captain's account as soon as possible. We're at the point of having nothing in the pot from how poor we've been lately." The thin man yawned before speaking to Third Elder. Third Elder was confused. He had no idea what this person was saying. Wire the money to their captain's account? What did that mean? Ling Long, will you keep fighting with this old man from the Fearless Alliance? The thin man's gaze settled on Ling Long. "Little Captain, she definitely won't have the guts to attack now that she's seen us." The pretty girl laughed cheerily. "All right, Aya, have some fun with her," the thin man said. "Okay." The girl called Aya pulled out a dagger from her clothes too and skipped toward Ling Long. Immediately, the two daggers clashed and sparks flew. Several exchanges later, Aya was kicked back from Ling Long. "Little Captain, I can't beat her. Let's attack with the three of us and gang up on her." Aya looked infuriated. The thin man rubbed his chin. "Two grown men attacking a girl together with you. That's a nice idea. I accept it." The trio instantly charged toward Ling Long. "Bring me two. The four of us can gang up on her." Third Elder yelled and also joined the fighting team. Ling Long was expressionless as she fended off the four attackers. This girl is pretty strong." "Ahoo!" pummel her to death. The thin man took several steps back and ordered the sturdily built man next to him. Okay, little captain, the man shouted, and both his fists ruthlessly slammed toward Nye Linglong. Nye Linglong swiftly retreated back. Kaboom! A loud noise was heard as the strong man bashed the air and actually pummeled 2 deep holes in the ground with his fists. Third Elder was rendered speechless. What weird strength was this? If he was punched by this man. Right, pummel her. Pummel that little bitch to death. Ahu, give it your best. If you perform well, perhaps the Fearless Alliance will be willing to pay us more, the thin man hastily said. If I pummel her to death, the strong man nodded and turned to Third Elder. Will you give a raise? Third Elder nodded immediately. We will. I'll privately sponsor you guys with 1 million. The trio's eyes shone when they heard that. Don't go back on your word, or else I'll pummel you to death. Ahu shouted coldly before attacking Nye Linglong again. You overestimate yourself. Nye Linglong's eyes were brimming with contempt. A flick of her dagger, and it instantly pierced Ahu's wrist, blood gushing out. However, that robust man acted like he didn't feel any pain, and his movements weren't hindered in the slightest. Sensing the threat of the man's odd strength, Nye Linglong rapidly sprang backward, shooting off with the tip of her toes. Ah, you didn't hit her. The thin man looked regretful as he rubbed his chin. Big idiot. Ahu's nickname is Pitbull. He doesn't feel any pain. Ahu stuck her tongue out at Nye Linglong. Stop wasting your words with her. Let's capture her alive. Third Elder yelled between his panting. Say, boss, it's fine if we killed this woman, but capturing her alive won't do. We don't leave any survivors behind when we attack. The thin man shook his head. A motley crew. Nye Linglong snorted and promptly leaped into the distance. Follow her. Third Elder hastily yelled when he saw Nye Linglong leaving and made to chase after her. Hold on, hold on. The thin man instantly blocked Third Elder's path. What? Third Elder was baffled. Say, boss, don't you have any idea? The thin man scratched his smooth chin. What do you mean? Third Elder asked. What else could I mean? We can't beat her. The thin man responded lightheartedly. Third Elder. That woman is too fast and nimble, but her attacks are vicious and fierce. She's a difficult opponent. Even if we did have a fighting chance, we'd have to pay a bitter price. 2 million isn't worth it, nope. The thin man shook his head. That's right, it's not worth it. And we've finished our mission already. Aya vehemently nodded. Thank you, Third Elder said while cupping his fists. If it weren't for these 3 people, his ship would have probably capsized and sunk today. It was our job, so no need to thank us. Thank your president if you must. After saying that, the thin man led Ahu and Aya back into the night. Oh, right. Remember to wire your 1 million into our captain's bank account, or else we'll pummel you to death. The thin man yelled without looking back, and the trio quickly disappeared into the night. At the Fearless Alliance headquarters, Yi Wanwan's lips twitched as she looked at Third Elder and his bandaged arm. The scouts had fully reported the situation to her already. What did she tell Third Elder? Leave if he was discovered. This old guy was great. He directly went up and started fighting with Nye Linglong. Thankfully, she had the foresight and a nagging feeling that Nye Linglong wasn't a simpleton, so she hired a squad under nameless Nye with 1 million. Otherwise, Third Elder would have perished in Nye Linglong's hands this time. President, this was a miscalculation on my part this time. Next time, I'll definitely teach her a lesson she'll never forget. Third Elder fumed with rage between gritted teeth. Yi Wanwan originally intended to scold Third Elder, but decided otherwise after some thinking. Yi Wanwan sighed. Right now, their position was too passive, and there were too many traps and murky situations they couldn't ward off. It was like there was a pair of giant hands around them. They had to find a way to escape this situation. Any successes? Yi Wanwan asked, looking at Third Elder again. Third Elder nodded. President, we followed Nye Linglong to the territory outside of the independent state, where she met up with a man. Nye Linglong said that the Nye family was starting to suspect her, and it wasn't possible for her to overturn the Nye family now. However, that man ordered Nye Linglong to figure out a way to steal a pair of rings from you. Yi Wanwan turned pensive. The mysterious man wanted to steal her rings. Yi Wanwan currently didn't know about the origin of the rings, but she was certain they were out of the ordinary. The experts she previously encountered in China who tried to steal her ring were probably ordered by this mysterious man Third Elder was referring to. A mysterious man. Third Elder, are you certain it was a man? Yi Wanwan inquired. Third Elder was startled briefly before promptly nodding. I'm certain. Then did you see that mysterious man's appearance clearly? Third Elder recalled the scene for a moment before shaking his head. President, the man Nye Linglong met concealed his face, and it was late at night, so we couldn't see his face or figure clearly at all. Since their face was concealed, and you didn't clearly see their appearance or figure, how are you certain it was a man? Yi Wanwan asked, hitting the nail on the head. Third Elder was dumbstruck. But it was a man's voice, President. And got it. Go back and rest. Yi Wanwan waved her hand at Third Elder. All right, then I'll be taking my leave now. Third Elder nodded and left the office. After he left, Yi Wanwan fell into contemplation. It was conventional thinking that made Third Elder think he saw a man, but whether the mysterious person was a man or a woman required further observation. As for Nye Linglong, she was completely exposed now, so she probably wouldn't return to the Nye residence for the foreseeable future. Right now, what was most important was for her to return to the Scarlet Flames Academy and get the headmaster to help her regain her memories. She couldn't remember the bits and pieces that belonged to Worryless Nye and a lot of other matters. If she knew everything, perhaps the current situation would be different. That night, Yi Wanwan used Worryless Nye's identity to call Elder Gong, who was far away at Scarlet Flames Academy. On the phone, Elder Gong sounded indescribably excited. The news that the president of the Fearless Alliance was Worryless Nye had spread to every corner of the independent state, and everyone knew about it. Yi Wanwan agreed with Elder Gong that she would return to Scarlet Flames Academy tomorrow. The next day, Yi Wanwan made 7-Star drive her to Scarlet Flames Academy. The entrance of Scarlet Flames Academy was packed with people. News about President Fearless, a.k.a. the once demon instructor of Scarlet Flames Academy, Worryless Nye, had raged across the academy like wildfire overnight. In front of the gates, Elder Gong looked incredibly emotional as he stared at Yi Wanwan. Damn, that's senior sister Worryless? These looks, TSK, I really couldn't tell. She could clearly rely on her face to make a living, but she just relied on her real strength. What the hell do you know? Back then, Senior Sister Worryless was our Scarlet Flames demon instructor and taught many outstanding top-notch mercenaries. I really didn't expect that woman from the Nye family to have been an imposter. No wonder the previous Worryless Nye from the Nye family never returned to Scarlet Flames Academy. Yi Wanwan presented herself to the people with her real appearance and didn't put on any makeup. No one could have imagined that the Worryless Nye standing in front of them was that incredibly ugly Yi Wanwan. Worryless, Elder Gong excitedly walked toward Yi Wanwan, unable to help himself from running his eyes over every hair on her. Master, I'm back. Yi Wanwan smiled faintly at Elder Gong. Elder Gong's voice shifted slightly. This voice, why did it sound so familiar? Yi Wanwan's voice was. However, he didn't think about it too much and immediately brought Yi Wanwan back to his residence at Scarlet Flames Academy. After a long conversation with Elder Gong, Yi Wanwan refrained from revealing her other identity and departed for the headmaster's office instead. Inside the office, the headmaster of Scarlet Flames was wearing his reading glasses and holding a pen as he read through some documents requiring his attention. Worryless is here to see the headmaster. Yi Wanwan greeted him with a smile when she entered the headmaster's office. The headmaster of Scarlet Flames immediately looked up and examined Yi Wanwan. You're Worryless? The headmaster was surprised. A young woman truly changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. You've lost your previous youth and coldness and gained some liveliness. I nearly couldn't recognize you. Yi Wanwan, headmaster, actually, I came here wanting to ask about mercenary honor points. Yuan got straight to the point. If it was worryless Nya, she believed she should have left a lot of mercenary points at Scarlet Flames Academy. Yuan previously inquired Elder Gong about this topic, but the elderly man wasn't too knowledgeable about this subject, so she had no choice but to come and ask the headmaster himself. Normally speaking, any large sum of mercenary honor points was personally recorded and saved by the headmaster. Great, worryless, you're finally back. You haven't forgotten about the 3 million honor points you owe Scarlet Flames Academy, right? The headmaster stood up and walked toward Yuan. Yuan was dumbfounded. What? Her worryless Nya identity not only lacked a large sum of mercenary honor points, but she also actually owed Scarlet Flames Academy 3-something million. What cosmic joke was this? Worryless, do you still remember the mercenary points you owe? The headmaster hastily pressed when Yuan didn't speak. I don't remember it at all. Worryless. Yuan looked at the elderly man. Headmaster, have you mistaken me? I'm not worryless Nya. You aren't worryless? The headmaster wore an extremely strange expression as he stared at Yuan. I'm definitely not worryless Nya. Headmaster, look at me. How do I resemble worryless Nya? You've recognized the wrong person. Yuan hastily said. Before the headmaster could say anything else, Yuan seriously said, sorry for the trouble. Farewell. Oh, I remember now. It's Scarlet Flames Academy that owes worryless Nya at least 3 million honor points. Ah, I've become muddle-headed in my age, the headmaster mused with a shake of his head. Yuan had just stepped outside the headmaster's office when she suddenly heard that, so she immediately turned around and returned. Headmaster, I'm worryless. I'll come back to see you. The headmaster glanced at her. No, you aren't. No, Sir Headmaster, I'm worryless. I'm really worryless Nya. Look carefully. Yuan urgently said. All right. Then when will you repay the 3 million mercenary points you owe to Scarlet Flames Academy? The headmaster was grinning. Fuck me. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.